Futures pointing to a higher open coming up this morning following yesterday's steep sell-off that we saw into the close once again as markets continue to be very jittery, sensitive to geopolitical headlines that continue to direct the market overall. Yesterday we saw the Dow down about 480 points when all was said and done, 1.42%. It was the fourth straight decline for the Dow. The S&P 500 ended the session yesterday down 1.01%. And the NASDAQ overall 1.23%. It's worth noting the S&P did close yesterday in correction territory, 10.25% off all-time highs. Selling was broad-based as well, with all 11 S&P sectors in the red as the market closed to end the day yesterday. It was consumer discretionary and energy stocks that led the way. Both were down more than 3% each. We're in the home stretch when it comes to the earnings season. About 78% of S&P 500 companies have reported now, 78% as well, topping expectations for this quarter. Individually this morning, speaking of earnings, space, Virgin Galactic moving around here. We'll talk about their report. Smaller than expected loss for Virgin, and Lowe's, a little bit of a better than expected report, but not much reaction, both directions initially, and then we're back to basically flat. So we'll have a look at Lowe's coming up. It's Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. There we go. Look at some positive numbers. Good to see you right across the entire board, basically. 1% for the NASDAQ leading the way right now. 0.72 there for the Dow, the S&P in positive territory as well. TSX futures here in Toronto, 0.35 in positive territory. You can see crude a little bit of a pullback. Brazil's open trading lower as well. And 2 days in a row, we'll see if we can get Ethereum and Bitcoin back in positive territory and stay there. That will be the key after a positive showing yesterday. Good morning, guys. Interesting looking day setting up here once again as we try to bounce back after yet another steep sell-off into the close yesterday. Obviously going to watch some geopolitical headlines continuing to direct the market, as we said, but overall a little more positive so far today.
Yeah, look, yesterday you had the rally off the bottom in the afternoon after the president spoke, and then you had the pullback in the close, and then, of course, as you mentioned, ending up in correction territory for the S&P, closing below, being the SPY closing below 432 there. So down that 10%. Maybe we're catching a bit of a bounce. Feels like some of those geopolitical waves are, I guess, going to be slowing down because we had so much headline risk specifically in yesterday's action, and we're going to cover it all. Obviously, we'll go over what's happening in those markets and how it right now may or may not be affecting things like the chip makers. Energy is still going to be in play. I don't think that's going to calm down anytime soon. We still have some earnings to get to. Not crazy movers like yesterday. I would be absolutely shocked if Lowe's had the same fate as Home Depot. As a matter of fact, there's almost no way it's going to happen. But there's still a lot for us to get to here today. You can guess I'm probably thinking some certain things on Virgin Galactic, which might end up being shorting it. But we'll see what does play out in the next hour before the open. Plenty of time to run.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, it should be a fun day. I haven't even looked at Lowe's, to be honest with you. I didn't look at Home Depot yesterday, but we may look at Lowe's today. There's some chip sector movement here today. We'll look at Intel, AMD, NVIDIA. It should be a fun one. I mean, I don't know. I'm waiting for this market to finally stick on a bounce. I mean, it's today we came in with it, pretty nice, upside again. And then, we're at 14,000 right now all of a sudden. So I thought, okay, can we hold it? We've already taken it out. So 14,000 on the NASDAQ, looking to see make a move on this name. And there's a bunch of other names. The sticky note is out. You'll have to check that out. Watch.tradertv.live. And the sticky note is at TraderTV Sean. A lot of you guys asking about that. It's right here. 30,000 viewers or followers. Join the party, guys. It's right here. Intel T-Doc also. A couple of Kathy Wood names up here on Twitter today. So let's have a quick look at those when we get back. But hey, should be a fun one. Lots of earnings today. Market is up finally. We'll see what happens with Russia and Ukraine again, but should be a good day, Brendan.
Yeah, can it hold? That will be the key as we make our way through an interesting looking Wednesday here. We're going to talk about a pretty epic short squeeze that happened on one of the Canadian markets coming up here. Before we do that, though, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, team. Happy trading to you all. I wish you a wonderful, profitable day. Please make sure you like this video, and let's get it started, Brandon.
Yeah, let's indeed get it started, guys. I was mentioning Colt Food Services. Anyone in the Day Trade the World family might have been aware of this move yesterday that happened on the Canadian Securities Exchange. CULT, a monster move. A little penny stock went from 15 cents all the way up to 65 cents. We are going to talk to the president of the company regarding this move that happened yesterday on CULT and get his take on why that happened and maybe learn a little bit more about Colt Food Services, guys. The short squeezes don't necessarily only happen on U.S. markets.
No, and look, one of the phenomena that we've been talking about recently, if you guys follow the show every single day, you kind of know that there's been these low float 1 to 10 million share type of names that have been running. And then a recent phenomenon, maybe in the last month or so, is it's just been anything that's an IPO or a de-SPAC in the last month that might also have a low float. After a day or two of trading, there's this run up. So it goes in either direction. Like you can have low float squeezes where people are just pumping it on a message board and there's not a lot of liquidity out there and it causes it to go to the upside. You can have a traditional squeeze where people are leaning on the short. And then, when it starts to go to the upside, like in the case of with Colt there, and I think John has the chart up, things can accelerate pretty heavily. And this is what happens when it starts breaking key levels and those shorts have to buy back. You get a further extension of the move, and it starts to just be this cascading effect. And this is not something we're new to. We saw it with GameStop. We saw it with AMC as well. You saw it with plenty, but this happens on other types of names, and we've been seeing this time and time again on these low floaters. And this is why we always say, I don't care what direction you're in position. If you're trading one of these low float names, you're trading in and out to get to take your profit or make sure you're playing with a catalyst. If there's no fundamental catalyst when these things start to move, then that should be some kind of a hint that you might want to take your profit while it's there if you're going to be trading the momentum, but understand if there's no reason the stock is getting pushed down, well, the shorts could be in trouble. If there's no reason the stock is going up, well, then the rug could get pulled. Things of that nature are going to happen over and over again in these markets, and you just want to make sure you're learning from them because the underlying business might not be changing, and you could still be price action.
Yeah, yesterday it just started getting going about 11:30 with tons of buy volume coming in. It goes from 18 cents up to 62 cents real quick right there. So we'll find out CEO coming on for Colt, and we'll figure out what happened there and if that can happen again today and what other names can do that. So it's just a short squeeze. We'll talk about, again, Brendan will think about, ask questions, why it happened, was there a structure situation? It was a big time stock traded here at Day Trade the World yesterday, so we'll have to watch out for this one. CULT over on the Canadian market, I mean, monster volume, 14 cents for the bottom yesterday. Well, let's call it 16 cents and a high of 62, so a lot of money to be made here. And yeah, just an interesting name, and as Neil said and Brandon mentioned as well, halts happen on every market and short squeezes happen on every market as well. So money is green, and we like to take advantage of these opportunities. So, hey, a great education coming up in just a couple minutes about Colt.
In a couple of minutes here. Let's shift gears quickly. Want to mention Twitter just out with a proposed $1 billion senior note offering. So a little bit of a downtick right there for Twitter on that. Only 0.5%, but we're basically back to these lows. If you go over to a daily chart, coming off that earnings report, right back to 32.5 here on that for Twitter.
Get me away from that 34 that I wanted to short today. So that might not end up happening, getting pulled down. But the thing about Twitter is, we talked about the monetization issues. That January low that you mentioned, 32, we're looking to that as key level in multiple symbols. So you've gotten some bounces off of that bottom. You've also had some breakdowns off of breaches of that level. So that now comes into play 32. I think it was a fade for me at 34, somewhat because it was down yesterday after DWAC's launch, and it also had resistance at that price. But that 34 is still relatively valid, at least for the rest of the day here today. But yeah, 32 on a break. I've never really had any success with breakdown trades on Twitter. That's why I was kind of hoping I could play off the 34 level. If there's like gigantic size on that bid, I mean, why not? if you see 1 million shares on there, maybe you can scalp something out. But I'd rather be shorting in front of resistance than trying to take a breakout or breakdown trade on something like a Twitter here today. And the volume, pretty tepid. But hey, these offerings, like, they tell you something. I mean, if you were trading Oxygen yesterday, I don't think we're too surprised that they had an offering and pulled the rug post-market.
Look, we talked about this over and over again. Twitter's a dead company. They've been dead for 10 years. It does get some odd spike up and down. I mean, you're back to 32.50 again. It's just a horrible stock. It's a horrible name to be in. Those of us invested in it, I mean, look at this. It was just like, this was 76. I mean, we could do this for a lot of stocks. I mean, they're not making money, so, to see this kind of a move happen is not a surprise. There's lots of these stocks that look like this, so I'm not trying to pick on Twitter. It's just, it's never really gotten going. And now you have to suffer through this, although, it's probably never getting back to $74. And I mean, and if it is, I don't know what, they have to get bought out or something, I think, for that to happen. But Twitter, again, even since its IPO, I can pull this chart back like we've done as far as we can back here. You can go all the way back to 2015, or not 2015, was it 2005 when they IPO'd? But anyways, nice move upside in COVID, now all the way back down. I figure that there should be some support at $30. So let's see if we can get back down to $30 for Twitter. I think the Truth Social coming out is something interesting for Twitter because, maybe it puts them back on the radar a little bit as far as valuation, as far as monetization, things like that. So we'll just see what happens with Twitter. That offering is nothing. $1 billion. I mean, they'll raise that, and that's not going to be an issue. So you see a nice move down here, about 50 cents. Probably battles back, especially if the market does. But yeah, I'm a short on Twitter. I'm not going long on this thing.
Obviously ends up being a bit of a disappointing trade yesterday, kind of faded all day, even as Truth hit the App Store on Monday and Sunday. I want to mention some of the Chinese EV stocks. We'll talk about Tesla here a little bit, some individual headlines on Tesla this morning, but some of the Chinese EV stocks bouncing back nicely after sharp down days yesterday, led by this one. Once again today, 1.7 right now anyways for NIO. Trying to hold above 22 here. Again, there's some Russian concerns when it comes to some of the materials used for batteries in the production of these cars as well. So big down day yesterday, guys, but NIO trying to bounce.
Yeah, look, obviously NIO's been under a lot of pressure. It doesn't necessarily help the tensions that are going on. We know Russia and China with an alliance, and on top of that, you throw out that a lot of the growth that these three names, Li Auto, XPeng, and NIO, a lot of the growth they're trying to expect is going to be in Europe outside of China, where NIO in particular needs to hit outside of Europe because they've been lagging inside of China themselves. So, that's probably a lot of the reason why they accelerated to that downside. But we're right back above some key levels here on NIO, specifically the 22 to 23 channel. Looks like a pretty interesting one. That was afternoon resistance, and you're turning into that bid right now. 23. Obviously on the 15, that was like a recent support level. So we get up to that price. I think that would be a fade for me on NIO. Nothing's really changed overnight. Like maybe we've slowed down on the headlines, but I don't think anything's dramatically changed in terms of geopolitical risk there. So the risk to supply of materials has not really. I don't think we've alleviated any of that stress, and I don't think any of the geopolitical tensions are going to be gone from this. So it'd be interesting, or at least a little bit surprising, if we broke back out above 23 today. That's the level I'd be working off of. Again, I just don't like breakdowns. I mean, 22 sits there as an even number, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I think trading off the key levels has just been a better way to operate here. And NIO would have to. NIO would have to breach that 22 to turn red today, so it's got the cover of sort of staying in green territory. That's the one I'll be looking at. I know sometimes we'll trade XPeng. That's usually on delivery numbers or on actual earnings. Today, it's more about the levels for me, and I know what I like at 23 if we get a squeeze or a push to the upside on NIO.
Look, guys, I'll put the sticky note. I just talked about Twitter, and now I'll pump it a little bit here as we have the sticky note up on Twitter. You need to watch this on tradertv.live, then you need the sticky note, and you need nothing else. I don't have NEO on here, but I just added it. So we'll add NEO to the sticky note here, long 2150 area, right? And so what we're looking for here on NEO is a dip back down in. We tried it yesterday, the long. It worked a little bit. Then it got out right there at 1 o'clock-ish. So we'll try the long again using this 2130 as a bottom. So, I mean, all this Russian-Ukraine tension is going to blow over, I feel like. So let's see. I mean, maybe not today, but let's try to use some of this weakness to get long NEO if we're able to down here. I just put a bid in right here at 2170, this sort of area in the dip yesterday. So if we can get long there, and then we'll get long down here near this 2130, and then using 21 as the bottom. I mean, look, you got to take some risks here. I like this name. I mean, if we dip down to 19, wow. But 20's here and 21. So let's just see if there is some support down here. Most of these stocks, and again, another name. Like if I could have just had that crystal ball back in the summer, obviously, this was $55 down to 22 bucks. A lot of names get chopped down here right now. So I think this is a buy at some point, but for now, we'll just play the day trade off of 21 long. I think this could be a big winner today. So I'm going to definitely be looking at this one here. NEO long off some of those bottoms, Brendo.
All right, as promised, guys, let's bring in Cult Food Sciences Corporation, innovative platform focused on advancing the future of food with a focus on cultivated meat, cultivated dairy products, and cell-based foods. We're happy to have Leji Ghafoor, president of the company, join us on the show for the first time this morning. It's great to have you. First of all, Leji, thanks for jumping on this early in the morning. We know you're a busy guy. A pretty epic day yesterday for the stock. We'll talk about the move coming up here in a bit, but this is a fascinating area and a fascinating sector that's only, in the very, very infancy of development. Tell us a little bit about the company, first of all, and some of the goals and where we're heading.
Yes. So Cult Food Science is the first of its kind in North America, a publicly traded cellular agriculture platform. And we focus on IP creation, investments, and patents for this wonderfully innovative space. With a world-class scientific advisory team, Cult provides unprecedented exposure to private startups in this space, focusing on the intellectual property, on our incubated companies across every pillar of this industry. So in our portfolio, we have companies working on meat, seafood, dairy, chocolate, honey, bioreactors, scaffolding, and more in this extremely innovative space. And we are leading investments that no other public company has made, such as Fiction Foods, founded by Brendan Brazier, who built and sold Vega for $550 million.
Yeah, it's an interesting space. And the key here is going to be the fact that there really isn't any opportunities of yet for investors to get exposure to this space. So let's jump into a little bit about, you mentioned some of the products there and some of the companies, under the umbrella at this point. Historically, new businesses, innovative businesses tend to be targeted when it comes to, stock performance and stock movement. Tell us a little bit about, on your end, the price action that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, 100%. So novel industries with great risk comes great reward. And we face pressure from short sellers this week. Examples in other industries are like with cannabis and psychedelics. And for the past week, Cult has been under pressure from short sellers. So yesterday, we had a low of 16 cents in the day and a high of 65 cents. So over 150% swing. We had over 30 million shares traded on the day and almost a 10 million in daily volume. So we're an extremely liquid stock. But with that shorting yesterday, Cult has a robust, loyal, and growing shareholder base who will actively defend the stock, as evidenced by yesterday, along with our fantastic long-term founding shareholders. And what you really saw with that when it happened was that short squeeze with the price popping back up.
Impressive volume all day long on the stock, and one to definitely watch out for once again today to see what happens. Let's talk a little bit about the company from the sense of innovation going forward. What can investors expect from Cult?
Well, for those that don't know, cellular agriculture and cell-based foods, it's really about creating food through cells without the animal. So it's the science of harnessing the power of cells through biotechnology to create everything from meats to materials in ways that have never before been possible. And we know that is the future of food, and it is a key focus of consumers to start looking at solutions that have better sustainability to deal with our current mass agriculture and farming crisis that we have going on. So what you'll see out of us is more development of IP and more investments in these world-breaking companies globally as we really bring this industry to the lives of everyday people.
As we said, it was one of the top traded stocks here at Day Trade the World yesterday, guys, on that move on the CSE. If you want to check it out, CULT on the Canadian Securities Exchange here in Toronto. Ledji Gafour, president of Cult Food Sciences Corporation. We appreciate you doing this morning.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too.
There is Cult Food Sciences Corp, guys.
There you go. And we were just talking about the phenomenon of squeezes, and sometimes you do battle, and if you're putting the shorts on, and we short all the time and looking at the directional moves to the downside, you can get on the wrong end of something where you have a defense of the stock and suddenly liquidity isn't there for you to buy it back. So that's always going to be a risk, and getting to understand the businesses behind it. And that's the thing. Like, if you see some wild price action in a name, sometimes having a better fundamental understanding of the company can put you in a spot to make a decision as to what you want to do with it. And that's kind of an environment we're going to be in with higher volatility in particular. So I'm glad that we're able to get that interview. And I think it should be, volatility is not going anywhere. That's the reality. Like, we're going to see this happen probably again to other names, and actually having an understanding is where the first step gets made. I'm a little bit excited because like yesterday, the upgrades and downgrades board was all pretty interesting names that were likely to be trading, and I kind of feel like the majority are the same here today, although one of those I'm not really sure what they are.
Yeah, I mean, I see Palantir, Teladoc, I see a bunch of Kathy Wood names on there, I see your Intel on there as well, and yeah, Intel's on the sticky note today for the first time maybe ever, so we'll have to see if we can go long on Intel. I like it. I didn't even realize it was upgraded today, Brendan.
Sean, doing my job. Intel top of the list. In fact, recent earnings name Macy's over here, also to the upside from Deutsche Bank, positive on the day as well. Recent earnings from a few of the ones on that side as well, including Teladoc, which we'll talk a little bit about. It was higher than that in the pre-market, but we'll have a look at TDoc as well.
I know, TDoc finally can't get any wins. It wasn't a horrible report.
It was a pretty good quarter. Yeah,
and they get downgraded. So we'll see Teladoc.
That's the thing. Like, you're not making money yet. You're gonna get punished in this market. Home Depot, obviously, yesterday. Look, your Home Depot being down at 1.10% and catching a downgrade today when Lowe's just had a pretty good quarter. The truth is, between those two, Home Depot's a little bit more expensive, but not by much. Like, I think it's, it might be like a couple of points total on their PE that separates the two. So. Look, Lowe's had a fantastic quarter. Like I said, I would be absolutely mortified and shocked if Lowe's had to move like Home Depot does. I just can't see that happening, partly because Lowe's had to move down in sympathy as well. Home Depot's trying to make a bottom after yesterday's flush into 312, I think it was. That was the absolute low. And I think Lowe's might be able to drag it up a little bit, although Lowe's might look a little bit better for an individual trade. Neither doing a ton of pre-market volume, so you might want to wait till the open for any executions there.
Yeah, I'm stuck here looking at Facebook off 200. That's good. That's another name that's on the sticky note here today. I have all of these names. I don't know what we want to do here, but Palantir's on the sticky note for another bid down near $10. Look, I mean, this has been a sad ride for a lot of these depressed names, right? I mean, they just keep on pushing lower. Yesterday, maybe we may have found a bottom at $10. I mean, wow, what a surprise. $10 here for Palantir. I didn't think we'd get this low, but we are 11. And remember yesterday they got a new contract, I think it was only $5 million, something like that. It wasn't a big deal. But 11.20 up here is a good little level for Palantir as well. I've written down that we'll just take the long anywhere back in here, 10.30, 10.40, something like that. If we do get a dip down in the pre-market, we definitely want to go long Palantir, even though it's on that downgrade side. The thing is, we have our outs, right? And so we've been scalping that. I don't know if you can even show me my trades. Yeah, it's not going to show yesterday. But we had some nice scalp trades yesterday in Palantir. Here's the rip in the morning up to that 11.20 area that we just talked about. And then there's the move down when the futures started giving up the ghost a little bit there. Move back down into 10.40. So we'll see if we can get the trade back into here for Palantir. 10.40 or so, we're going to look to put on a position. But right now, it's moving upside, man. 10.82, starting to go now for Palantir, breaking out some of these levels. Maybe 11.20 will be in play at some point here today, but no big positions coming early. I do have one that I like, though, and it's going to be Intel, and we'll talk about that when we run down the watch list.
We're discussing NIO, guys. Move over BlackBerry, maybe? NIO, guys, according to DigiTimes Asia, set to make their own phones. So maybe you can buy an NIO car and a phone that will connect to it. So we talked about Tesla. There was a report going back a couple months ago. Tesla was considering at least making their own phone. So I don't know. Neil, you want a Neo phone?
Nah. I mean, no, but I mean, I see the logic behind a connected smartphone in your vehicle. Like that actually makes some sense to me. Why you necessarily need to go the route of making their own phone, I don't get that. Like I think partnerships would make a heck of a lot more sense in that regard. But who knows? Like Neil's got some really cool and impressive technology, especially when it comes to that battery swapping. If you've anyone that's seen it is completely intrigued by it, but that comes with a few issues, like the wait time and how long it takes to get it done, the infrastructure needed for it, as opposed to the more traditional approaches that you see with the other EV names. So I don't know if that's going to move the needle for me here today. I think it's an interesting story. I think it's bigger news when bigger car companies start making specific partnerships with smartphone makers. But Neo, go for it. Make your own phone. I mean, if Tesla did it, fine. I think that's probably something we'd be more interested in. I stick to what I'm looking for here today, which is I know where this 23 area has had some sort of push away from that price in either direction, gets to 23, runs, breaks 23, and then we have a rejection of that after finding support there. So I know the level I like trading off of with some actual confidence. Yesterday's lows, if that wants to come into play, absolutely that can be, it's a good double bottom down there in the afternoon. But I'm looking at that 23 and saying that's an interesting spot. If you get a bump up here in a relief rally, or maybe that news carries it upside, that's where I'd be looking to possibly fade it. So, I'm trading Neo off the levels here. And considering there's uncertainty and geopolitical risk, I don't see it necessarily breaking back to 25 or anything. But yeah, that phone thing, I don't think it moves the needle today.
No, we're just channeling our inner reading ability here for the tape and for charts and things like that. And I didn't even realize that there was a phone issue in there. As I see Arun, I'm going to ask, he's in the building today, so I want to ask him how his Pixel is. So when he's up there doing his review, we'll ask him how the Pixel 6 is. That moved the needle for Google. But that's a big phone there. And we'll see what happens here with Neo. But for me, man, I'm going long. I'm going long in here somewhere, 2160, 2170 or so in Neo. That's not changing. I'm going to use 21 as the bottom. We could get absolutely destroyed on this today. But again, I'm using 21 as a bottom. I feel like this Russian stuff passes over at some point, and this market can go back up to the upside. We're already up 2%. It's already double what the market's up today, so it's not like I'm spitting untruths here. I think it wants to go. It's up double the market. We'll see if it fades back in. That's the Neo play, a fade back to the downside coming through, right? So if that can come in, we'll take that. We haven't even looked at imbalances yet. It's not even. I always feel like this goes so slow here, but it's not even 9 o'clock yet, and we're already looking. Palantir with a buy, so we've already talked about that. Neo's there with a buy as well, so Pfizer with the sell. Very small right now on the imbalance locator. Ford is a name that we haven't looked at. We looked at it, but haven't traded in a couple days. I think 17 is also pretty interesting here. So, Arun at the big screen in a couple minutes as soon as we get his mic figured out, Brendo.
Ford on the watch list today. There was a recall on Ford. 300,000 cars wasn't a huge one, but heads up on Ford. Coinbase moving around here this morning in the pre-market. JP Morgan with an upgrade on Coinbase today. Price target increase as well. So a positive note. I mean, there's also the fact that Bitcoin's higher for the first day in a few, trying to hold some highs anyway. So Coinbase, nice look back above 180 over there, guys.
Yeah, I feel like Coinbase's been under trouble, but you really want to see a break back out on the stock. It's still in its downward trend. It's still relatively weak, even comparing to spot prices, right? Like, even when you get good consolidations and breaks and we hold some levels on Bitcoin, I just find that the run-up in Coinbase isn't nearly as good. It's a long-term play, I think, for a lot of people, sort of myself included. But for the momentum side of it, I'd need us back above like 192, 194. Like, get past this chop here, and then we can talk about it sort of, making power moves and the trend, this little recent downtrend we're in being broken. That's what I need to be able to see here. And yeah, we're excited to have Arun up at the big board. But I know you guys talked about Overstock. That's another one that we should be monitoring. I sort of added that to my list a little bit late because it's up over 20% and making some big moves. But Coinbase, it's that 92 to 94. That's the area that I want to see us trading back in before we can dig in.
Just quickly here, I don't know if I think this is meaning to me here, Sir X1 here. What is Sean? Makes money or lose money every day in general. They get paid to add liquidity. Yeah, we've talked about that. You can get paid. So if you sit here and you are aggressive and remove liquidity, that will cost you something. And if you bid and you're passive, you can add liquidity. So we can get paid both ways. I think yesterday I was very, very active in removing liquidity. I had over $150 in fees yesterday. Thoughts on IMPP? I think Neil's taken a hit on that or looked at that already today. Shorting, I think. Anyways, Neil looks at IMPP. So we'll do that when we get back from the chat. But thank you so much. Francisco, I think IMPP will be, I don't even know if it's on our watch list today. I don't scroll down that far.
It's at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. So it's at the bottom of the watch list. We will get to that. Thank you so much, Mr. Francesco. Thank you so much for that. And we'll go over now. Are we ready? Should I just go to the big board there, Brendo? You want? Let's go back to Brendan.
Overstock, guys. Yeah, it looks like they reported. So it's earnings. Speaking of short squeezes, there's still a 15.6% short interest on OSTK as well. So another one worth keeping an eye on. We'll talk about that, though, in a second. Let's bring in Arun and get a check of the overall market here.
All right. Well, day 2 of the short week, and this market's had quite the ride. But you know what the levels are? They're still in play. The ones that we've been working with pretty much since Friday, except for one level. But the majority of the volume is still concentrated between a couple of major points. 4,400 into 4,410 seems to be the top end. So anything from 4,370. So it'll be pretty much, if you come across this chunk of volume, pretty much is what I'm going to work with. Anything from here going on up towards 4,400, I'm looking to potentially short if we can get there. We got close yesterday. We got to like 60, and then we just fell off. We got to 60 a couple times, and then we just fell off. So if we can get a little bit higher than yesterday's high, I'm looking for a potential failed breakout of yesterday's high. Look to fade that. And on the downside, I've got 4,300 as a potential marker as well. So right now we're sitting at 32. If we can get into the low 20s, I'm looking for potential bids. If we can just get a setup somewhere around the low 20s, and then 4,300 would break, and then we're gone from there, right? So 4,300 on the bottom end support, that's the minor support. We've got 4,410 up top, and then the big one, this one's been in play for a while now, 4,250. And it's respected to the dot. That's a problem though, because that means there's going to be some flexibility if we ever get to that point. So 4,250 is there, 4,300 is there, and then 4,410 is there as well. And here we are kind of waiting for this market to move. Hey, if it goes up, we got shorts. If it comes down, there's a potential for a long, a low risk long as well. So a couple options. Day 2 of the short week, and we'll see how this market wants to go.
Check back in again tomorrow morning. Let's get into what else is moving around here, guys. On the morning, if you haven't done so already, make sure you grab the watch list, absolutely free every single day. Has everything you need to know in the pre-market, why things are moving around and how much they are. I was just double checking the earnings call on Overstock is 8:30. So it started at 8:30. So that might have been something to do with that late pop-ups, because it wasn't really doing anything prior to that, but the call on at 8:30 there. Let's get into the watch list at this point, guys. A number of things to discuss. Wanted to mention the chip stocks here because big time strength the past couple of days. relative strength. Realize some of them were lower yesterday, but very active here in the pre-market and higher for this entire group once again.
Yeah, I mean, across the board, higher. Whether you want to, the AMD's up almost 2.5%. Like you said, Intel with the upgrade, they're also up 1.3. I mean, you can move over to like NVIDIA, which is up a couple of points as well. There's some concerns, of course, geopolitically when it comes to materials possibly being impacted by any kind of action that's going on in the Ukraine. And you saw the whipsaw action. AMD was getting a lot of love sort of online, I guess, I was being told yesterday. But look, it's bouncing off its 200, and that's the momentum I liked in yesterday's action. It was relatively strong at that time, and it's still forming a nice upward trend, hopefully into a bit of a break here, looking at this 119, into what we looked at yesterday, which was that 122 top. That's the long we tried at that 116. We did give some of it back up, not taking it at 19 because we were shooting for that 120 level. I much prefer buying dips as opposed to taking breaks. So you're going to see me on the bid in front of that 116.50 that we're playing off of in the afternoon yesterday, and then see if it finally gets that break. And then we head up to that 120 to 122 channel. Did have an in and out here, sort of flat keystroke. I actually had I did that thing where I'm looking at one level two and I'm actually typing in another. And thankfully, it was a small amount of shares. I punched into AMD and then got out and paid the spread. But yeah, AMD, I like the upward trend. I'll be in front of that bid in 116.50. If we catch a dip off of the open, let's see if it can continue this and maybe make that breakout. But I still look at that 122 as a bit of a target. I put the target out yesterday, and then the market reversed when Putin gave his presser. But I still think in an upward trend, we can hit that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be all over AMD. It's just this 45.50 right here on Intel looks to be too juicy for me to pass up. And again, it's just, this stock has been absolutely beat down, like $45. Might even be lower than it was 10 years ago, guys. This is like a Twitter name. Intel right here, 45. I like it here today for a long. I don't know if I like any of these. Like, I'm trying to think to myself, should we be buying some of these dips? And honestly, I don't want to buy anything, but we're here as day traders. And I think if you're watching the show for the first time, welcome. But we're just trying to scalp in and out, make as many trades as we can, profitable wise, have the best opportunities. And for me, man, Intel's right here, 45.50. It looks like a fantastic long. We can use 45 as much, like, I'm going to use a decent amount of shares. So again, you know, we don't want to get stopped out if it's wrong. But I think if you can take a trade at 45.50 and then balance it with a 45 out. Now, I don't know if there's any size down. Nah, there's no size yet at 45. But, you know, if you use 45.50 and then you just say, you know what, if you take 1,000 shares long there and your out is 45, then you sort of plan out to say, you know what, that's going to be a $500 hit. Can your account hold it? Yes or no? And I think that might even be too far, maybe even 50 cents. Like, I don't know how far Intel can run. If we look at yesterday, and the reason why I'm going over this is because I actually, you know, want to take a position here and see about making some cash on this. There's 45.50. It failed yesterday at the open, which is why we're not going to punch it long right off the open. If I do, it'll be with a smaller amount. Then we'll have it come down and then hit the reload back to the upside if that goes. But here's the fail, and look how far it dropped. It dropped epically far. Like, no love for the long yesterday. It opens up here at 44.50, goes up about $1, that's that, and then drops $1.80 or so to the bottom. So dramatic drop, but the good thing about Intel is it gives you opportunities to get out. There's lots of volume, there's lots of liquidity on this. Like, if you hit that 45.50, look at it bounce around 45 here yesterday before eventually breaking. So as long as I can be smart about this, take the 45.50 long, and then see what happens here at 45, then that's going to be the key to me. So needless to say, I'm bidding right now down here 45. If we can get long 45.10, 45, it's actually at 45.05. If we can get long down here, that's great. And then we can hold it. You know, if it comes back in, watch out for 44.50. So I'm playing this in a 50-cent range. That's basically the ins and the outs of this trade. If I take 45.50 long and I can get out 46, we'll do that. And if we're wrong, we have 50 cents back to the downside. And this is how you trade. I mean, Neil and I will talk about key levels, and it's up to you guys. If you like the trade, great, but make sure you size accordingly. That's the number one thing when you're trading. Do not lose your whole day in the first 20 minutes.
Brandon, just... Let's talk a little bit about the super chat.
including Tesla, guys, because we have a couple of things to note on Tesla this morning, going either direction, really. They're going to expand production, first off, in their Shanghai factory. Also, German regulators looking into that braking issue. If you remember, the U.S. Highway Safety Act or Transportation Board looking into this brake issue in the U.S. That was last week. Germany going to do the same thing, but positive note for Tesla as they're going to expand production from Shanghai.
So I want to get to Tesla in a second, but we did get a super chat on IMPP right before we went to Arun, so I want to make sure we get to that name. Just it's on the bottom of our watch list. Very, very small floats. We talked about squeezes and small floats. This one's about 13 million here. It's a micro cap. Like this is exactly the dangerous type of trade. So I've actually been into it a couple of times, but one was just defending one. Like literally, it was at 99 cents, made one top, and forget about the 15. I'll go back to the one so you can see better. It made a top at about 99 cents. It retested, it consolidated. So I just shorted right in front of $1 and then just punched out for like a cent and a half hit. And then there was somebody jamming the offer for a large amount of shares at 105 after it failed at 115. So I just shorted that consolidation. That guy pulled the offer. I got out. It eventually popped. It's got a double top at 115, but anytime you get above that $1 and then suddenly it starts defending it, you know, that becomes like your key line in the sand. I think if it breaks one, you're looking at the opportunity to think about it being a short. But as long as it has that support there at $1, there's a chance this one could go again. And if you're going to short it, you got to have defined outs. When I looked on the higher time frame, it's not as if this is pointing to any levels where it's obvious the bag holders are going to be just dying to get out of it until you get to like 175, 180, maybe even $2. So it's got some room to go if it were to break out. And right now it's been defending one pretty heavily. Volume looks like it'll be halfway decent today, but that $1 has been a big support level so far this morning.
I feel like on, and thank you for the super chat, guys. Keep them coming up right now. I know we answer everything, and that's the problem. We should maybe stop answering stuff until we get super chats. Look, this 800 on Tesla has just been so good, man. I mean, it's held. You can even go all the way back to late January where we held the 800, and then it's too bad I have this. You know, sometimes we have these wicks on here and the charts just look horrible. But Tesla right now it doesn't know what to do. I think this is one of the better names to get long right now in the market. However, you know, it's so hard to recommend, like, let's get into some of these positions here, because just as dramatic as this goes from 1,100 all the way down to 800 there in a matter of a week and a half, the same thing could once again be true for Tesla. If we break this 800, I feel like 675, 700, somewhere down here back where we were in August, is a concern for me. So I think that's maybe a better buy. But if you're just going to like average into Tesla, I don't think there's a problem buying it right here at 830 at all. With that 800 being like the ultimate bottom, you're going to give up $30 to the upside. I think that's worth it. You saw yesterday we touched out right here, 855. I know this is going to sound crazy, but honestly, 855 right here, that could get taken out very, very early here today, especially if the market rallies. So remember, yesterday we came in, you know, with a little bit of bright spots. The market was like dancing around positive or not, and then it just tanked. And then we almost got back to positive before ending the day negative, right? I remember we were talking with Valeria and saying, uh-oh, we're almost positive. And we even put a note in the chat, will we get positive or not? Well, Tesla was 832 then. We're only at 836 now, and the market's up 1.1%. So I feel like this has a lot of room to run. And if you go long Tesla, why not just use this 832 yesterday as the top, so or as your bottom now? So you can use that as support. So I feel like Tesla long right now, 832 makes sense. So you go long 836 and you have $4 worth of a stop. However, we still have 17 minutes left in this market, so before we open. So I'm not sure where we're going to go, and I wouldn't use any real size here for Tesla right now. But I do like that little top there. It makes sense. If you're going to go 832, you might as well bring it down to 830, to be honest with you. So again, that looks like an interesting support level for me, 830 on TSLA.
Yeah, like the only thing I'll add to that is I love it when you break a key level and then you spend not a lot of time one day and then you make a bottom and then we gap above that for the same support. It's almost like you can just pretend it never happened, and then you're right back to the 830. So that's what Tesla's trying to do. I know the same setup I'm looking to short NIO on a pop, but Tesla, if it were to do that, that's above 850, like at 860. So I prefer that for NIO. I like that on Tesla as well, Sean, but the 800 defense clearly would be a much more fantastic level. Miss V.
Hey guys, we've got a super chat from Jacob Salam saying, can you revisit Ford? Well, thank you so much, Jacob. I wish you a profitable day. Ford is on our watch list, and we will definitely cover that name. And meanwhile, guys, I remind you to smash the like button. Guys, please help us to break 1,000 likes level before the bell. And now let's go back to Brendan.
Yeah, we'll jump into Ford here. We'll talk about some Chinese EV makers as well. There was a recall, as we said, on Ford, 300,000 plus cars. Wasn't a huge deal, but we'll talk about Ford. Just watching Overstock as well, just made another high. Got back up at 46 there, but trying to pull in a little bit. But still, huge volume here on OSTK, so worth keeping an eye on. We mentioned both NIO, XPEV. There's Li Auto as well, I saw was, kind of active here in the pre-market. Trying to bounce back after big down days yesterday for all three.
Look, there was some, and thank you for the super chat on Ford, 100%. I mean, there was some talk there. They have the batteries department and their legacy department as well. Ford gonna have to spend some money to build out their batteries, right? And I mean that's sort of what's been happening right now to Ford. The problem with Ford was, and we've talked about this over time, is that it went too far too fast here. It just ripped all the way to the upside. To me, this is probably where Ford really needs to be trading, in between 19 and 21 right now. It's gotten beat down with the Dow Jones, with the S&P, with some of these like value stocks getting hit to the downside. Ford's PE, as far as I know, is still pretty reasonable. Let me just check this out right now. Is it in the, yeah, so it's $8. Their PE right now is 3.9. At this current level, and their forward PE of 750. So, like, come on, like, it's unbelievable the amount of opportunity that Ford has to go back up to the upside. It's one or two upgrades away from getting back to $20, $21. What a great move upside for Ford. Obviously, Rivian has been getting beat down. They still have the Rivian portion as well, as far as I know. So that's hit them a little bit. Part of this run up was Rivian as well, so that's going to be part of it. And look, I mean, compare them to GM, compare them to Toyota Motors, something like that. They have a very similar, both GM and Ford's PE are around 7. So, I like both of these names. You're bouncing off the 200 period at 1660. So that should be a good little level as well. I do not fear longs in Ford. I feel like this is the right play. And honestly, this could be the play of the year, Ford, to be honest with you. At these levels, why not? I mean, I would dump money into this right now without any hesitation whatsoever on Ford. The only problem, again, is like, where do you think the market's going? And they're not undervalued, so we already know that. They are a growth stock. There is growth story with Ford, right? They have the legacy business, and now they're revamping. They're moving into EVs. They plan to have, 600,000 or 700,000 electric vehicles on the road in the next couple of years. That's pretty monstrous, man. They have the facilities. They have everything. I like Ford here. I am a bull, and I've been buying down here, so I don't really have too much to say about these current levels, but I feel like right in here, this is a great dip buy. You have 17 to protect you. You have 16 for the 200 period moving average. I mean, look, to take Ford now, it has $2 worth of downside, and honestly, like a double on the upside. I think we take out 25 later on this year. I'm a big fan of Ford, especially at a 7 PE. Give me a break.
Yeah, and like it's, Ford and GM would just give you like a counterbalance to some of these growth ones. Like we talk about the Chinese names, right? Like none of those are cheap. I think no one's going to use that word. He even described Tesla. And this is a year that you have, we talk about valuation mattering. This is a year where, especially if you're catching a falling sword, it's not about whether you think the company is going to be valid or make money in 5 or 10 years. Of course, we're always asking that question. It's okay, we'll factor that in and then figure out what it's worth, and we're going to talk about that with a company coming up here. But just an example for XPeng, because that dropped $3 in one move, straight down off of the open, and then made a hard bottom that it's consolidating off of, and it's got an interesting setup as well. The volume's not there. NIO had a clearer level for me to fade at 23 if it got there. I don't see the same thing for XPeng, but you're just sitting in the middle of this range, and I feel I'd be more secure looking at Teslas and NIOs of the world, but XPeng was probably the bigger mover if you're watching the Chinese Chinese EV names, man. It got absolutely clobbered. So it's up 3%. I still think it needs to get back through 37 probably. That's the equivalent of that 23 level on NEO.
All right, let's go on to some earnings names, both TDOC and Lowe's we'll talk about coming up here. But Virgin, first of all, Virgin Galactic out with a smaller loss. They also improved their cash position in the latest quarter. But overall, I mean, I think the chart tells the story here today. Yeah, we're up 3.5%, but not a lot of interest here so far, guys, in this report for space.
And like, if you have to say that they missed on revenue when revenue was 150,000 for a company that's valued over billions, it's a valuation thing. It's, you know, whether like if they sell 1,000 trips, you know, even at that 450,000 price point, like you've got to ask yourself, like, is that even enough? It's not about the demand. It's about how many can they actually do to become viable. They got to be getting up and down multiple times a week for passengers a flight. Like, forget about these earnings. It doesn't matter. Like, when can they tell you about a faster turnaround and some of the maintenance issues that they have? Like, that's when the stock is going to get a catalyst. If you want this to make a move that it actually sustains, then that's the type of thing you're going to want to see. You're going to want to see successful flights, faster turnarounds for them, and then sort of less issues when it comes to maintenance. Like, that's what's going to matter here, because that's what's going to move the needle. Because then you can start to say, how many times are they going to be able to do this? You can start to price out, okay, X amount of trips. This is how many they can do a month, man. Like, if you go to a theme park, it's easy to see, like, how many people can they churn through the roller coaster, and they have it down to an absolute science. You have no idea in this particular case, and that's what's going to drive any potential growth. And we don't know anything else yet. So look, I'm on the offer to short it off of these levels, but this is, if we start breaking out, we get past the 850, yesterday's high, and I'm not going to be stubborn about this. I mean, it maybe decides to go into squeeze mode, which it's done before in the past, and there's so much room to run. Essentially, I'm shorting at the bottom end of the range here for an 8 break and then a retest of yesterday's lows. So if it takes out 850, I'm not going to be stubborn about it, but I am on the offer in front of the pre-market highs here, as I don't see anything and that's really changing or moving the needle here. Who cares if they had a smaller loss? That's not what this story is going to be about here today, but it still has a short interest, so got to make sure I have that out.
Yeah, my chart's not loading, but guys, Space was a $57 stock in July, and we had the same concerns. So, I mean, it's just, this is $8, probably going down, may eventually never happen. But you know, again, if there's something that you're looking for, yeah, don't show my screen, the chart's just not loading. If it's something that you're interested in and you want to kind of take a flyer, I mean, there's so many of these beat down stocks right now. Clover, we're going to talk about TDOC in a minute. I mean, there's lots of names that just can't get out of their own way. And Space is an interesting one. At least it has, you know, that upside potential, like Neil was saying, that they could be an amusement type park play, which I like. I mean, I think there is an opportunity there for people to make some money on Virgin Galactic. And don't they have that VORB as well? So that's another opportunity there, Virgin Orbit. So another name to have a look at. And I'm going to see if I can reset my charts.
Just noticed DraftKings back higher again today, another one that was pretty impressive yesterday. Remember, there was a number of negative notes on this. It quickly went red to green and then some. So we're holding some of these levels from yesterday, resistance going back a few days, back to earnings. So up 4.5 again today for DraftKings. But yeah, let's talk about TDOC and Lowe's, the other two bigger earnings to discuss this morning. Not a ton of movement here on either case, but TDOC interesting at least.
Yeah, I will talk. I mean, TDOC's on my list here. I just like the 68 long. There's really nothing else, but I will talk about it in a minute. So, I mean, yesterday, you know, I short stock all the time too. Yesterday, DraftKings, we short. I mean, look at all these shorts here. All these purple marks are shorts. We weren't wrong until the very end of the day there at 3 o'clock or so when we took out that high of 1850 or 1830. So, excuse me, 1830 there yesterday. So that was good. That was the high rate there, made 1830. As soon as it took it out, we got out of that, but shorted it all the way. And now today you get a bump up. Part of it, I'm assuming, Caesars last night reports as well. If that chart can go, we'll see what... Again, you know, right back to DraftKings. But Caesars up 5% today. So like we said, that should be some motivation here to get DKNG back going. So we'll see. I mean, it's a nice move for DraftKings as well, following Caesars up that 4.5%. Honestly, I think it's time to start. This is going to sound crazy, but maybe the next couple days you may get a bounce in some of these beat down names. So I was going to say all the Cathie Wood stocks, but I mean, remember QuantumScape? I don't even know if she's in this name or not. I remember I was in this at 40 or 50. Then the short seller report came out and we got out at 38 that day on the show, remember? And then now you're seeing QuantumScape, another one that's just been like, look at the chart, just straight to the downside here, down to 15. That name could get going as well. So there's a few other names, UiPath, another one to look at. That's actually not as bad, down to 35 bucks. But anyways, I feel like DraftKings does have a chance to go today. Some of these beat down names look to catch bids.
Yeah, just a couple of things on Teladoc. That whole notion of a double bottom is still to be in play. Like, get post-market action on the earnings report. And their growth was actually pretty good. I mean, clocking in revenue growth close to 50%, and then they guided forward for 25 to 30%, but they're still not making money. However, it is beaten up. This is at least a business that, you know, I expect to be there in 5 years. And I think there's some other investors out there who believe that. I look at this 63, say, okay, it's not a clean double bottom because of the aftermarket action we have, but that's a defendable level. That's the one I was looking to write down. And I know we also just talked about Lowe's and Home Depot a little bit. So very, very quickly, Lowe's, good quarter. You know, not going to complain about it, but you know, they made the move downside because of Home Depot yesterday. So I kind of look at that floor that we had in the morning and where we closed at 216 and was like, okay, we'll buy in front of that one. And then Lowe's has just been rocket shipping to the upside. So that might be getting away from us right now. So 216 would have been the level I defended on Lowe's. I don't think we're going to get an opportunity to trade it.
Great stuff. Let's talk a little bit about some small caps. We put that Rev B on the watch list this morning. So there's that up on positive news. This one from yesterday, INDO. The most important fact here is, guys, 1.5 million share float on this. So we had a huge move yesterday from 4.5 to 8.5, and then all the way back to 6. So we're kind of inside this range from midday yesterday between, I just marked down 680, which was that support. Came into play a few times there, 680 at the bottom, and then 8 and 8.5 on the top. But INDO going to be interesting, pretty active here as well, guys.
And another one sort of, well, that's the small cap, but the last one, Revelation Biosciences on our list. This was just no news, ran post-market, gapped up this morning as well. And when retail came in at 7 o'clock, they absolutely dumped it. It's been holding a consolidation pretty much ever since. It's been sort of back and forth at that 2 level. I was in it a couple of times, one scalp win, the other one we took a hit, and then just waited for it to sell down closer to the open. And now I'm in that consolidation short. So I want to add to it on any pop and curl to 215. If it gets above 20s, I would just get out of it. But just looking for a bit of a pullback. There's no news, like I said, on REVB here. Like there was just some social media chatter, and I had some news I think last week or a couple of weeks ago. But a low floater, so always make sure you have it out. If it breaks 220, not crazy to think that it might refill the gap. And then I'd be looking for 250 to 260, $2.50, 260, somewhere up there to re-engage that short position. So new position for me, and it'll be REVB.
Re-engaged. Yeah, so Intel, I mean, we're getting ready to rock and roll. Let's just take a quick look at said imbalance locator. Yeah, Palantir, I see you here. We'll check it out as a buy. It's doing a lot of volume, 2 million shares. I want to be a buyer of this name, but not until 1040. My current bid right now on PLTR is 1040. So there you go. We'll see if that can come in forward. We talked about that. There was some chatter there about, you know, it being a legacy and this and that. Yeah, just do as you think with Ford, man. I talked about that 16 bottom. I mean, if you went long 1750, you have 16 bottom. I don't think we see that today. I'm just talking about a long-term trade there. Neo, we like this bid here coming through. Ooh, AMD's a sell, so watch out there, Neil. I know you're looking at some levels.
Some names just pop down hard, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ right now, or sorry, yeah, the NQ is starting to go to the downside here with only 2 minutes left. So these are some names. Neo, I have it. I put it on the sticky note as well here today. So we'll just double check the prices that we wrote down here on the sticky note. And it was, we just added it to it. 2150. So yeah, a little bit of room to come down here. Check out the sticky note at Trader TV Sean on Twitter. Shout out to Liz, who's not here right now, but we did hire a social media person. So get ready to see some of our stuff coming through on social media, hopefully more than it is now, and get this show growing. If you can like and share the show on whatever platform you want, that would be absolutely fantastic. Okay, Neil, with only a minute and a half to go, I'm looking at Intel and Neo. I think those are the first two that'll pop in.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say I'm going to get my shot at a firm because Yeah, I like 38. We talked about 38 yesterday on a firm. It was at 37.30, and it just dropped 60 pennies here. You're going to see AMD, which we're also looking at this morning, just drop off of that 118 right into that 117 range with 1 minute to go. A little bit of a pullback in the NASDAQ. It wasn't much, but I just saw a couple of key names fall in there. And then NEO, obviously, if a market does that pullback, I don't know if 23 even is going to happen anytime soon. In NIO, we mentioned DWAC. Yesterday had the disappointing, I guess, debut launch, whatever you want to call it, that 85 to 87 channel on the 15-minute that had been resistance for so long. That looks like it's probably going to be some support after that dip. That's the only place I'd be buying it, man, in front of that 85. But DWAC, let's see if it can have a little bit of a round two. Hopefully this isn't one of those mornings where things look okay to the upside, and the second we get close to the open, the selling starts to come in en masse with 5 minutes to go. But yeah, we just saw it on AMD. They're testing 116, a firm already falling like a rock. If I miss a firm, like again, this is going to be a little bit frustrating. Miss V is on the bell. It is, oh my goodness, it is hump day today, right? Last time I checked, because it's the second day of the weekend. Yes, there was a holiday on Monday, so we dropped the countdown for you on this Wednesday. I almost bungled that one. But let's see if we can't get this party started. All the market turning right at the open here, 2-1.
Yeah.
Boo.
All right, now we're open. Let's go. Yeah, market should be tradable today, so let's get on this right now. All right, so here we go. Nice little move down for NEO. It hasn't even opened yet. We're going to see if a 22 wants to print right here for NIO. Should come through. 22 for NEO is what we're looking at right here, guys. So a level of concern for us here. NEO at $22. Going to try to open up. We can check back in on Ford. 1750, still not open yet as well. We got to go over to some NASDAQ names, as they're probably the only ones rocking right here. Facebook 204, we're waiting for 202.
And of course, I mean, so I got into this Virgin Galactic. We'll give it to that 830, 835. And look at what happens on AMD. It goes down to 117.25 and then makes a huge run to the upside there, just basically ramping up about $1 or so. So might have missed that one by 20 or 30 cents. But hey, I'm going to buy it in front of the level that we like, and I'm not going to chase it too far. Another name making a move we didn't get to was Roblox. Oh, goodness, it's still on the New York. That also fell heavily right when we saw a firm AMD fall as well off of 49 even, all the way down to 47. To me, this is still a short until it's not. That'll be in front of that 49 level if we can get back there. REVB, which we took, Revelation Biosciences or whatever it's called, that made a bit of a pop. I didn't get the rollover there as I got into Virgin Galactic on the short side, but that's now falling down, so I'll look to take some profit there. But all about now managing the Virgin Galactic trade and figuring how I'm going to get into AMD after that drop and pop, like a dollar down, $1 up, just that fast. We missed a bid by about 30 cents.
Yeah, shoot. Yeah, we're looking for get an INTC bid as well, as it's trying to take out that 45.50 area. But you can see the NASDAQ is just too jumpy right. I'm not in anything right now. We have to wait to see if something's going to come out and print for us, as we're looking to see. Now the market's coming to the downside. So here we go. Now we can maybe watch out to see where we're going with these trades. So NASDAQ coming back in. What is Palantir doing? Again, I'm on the bid. So like if any of these bids come in, Palantir takes off to the upside actually. Wow. Up through $11 right now, so that name wanting to work for the upside now as the markets come back in. The only short ideas I have on, I mean, I was looking at AMC, that was more for a long, but let's see if that has an opportunity back down near 16. Yeah, it's still not low enough yet. Looking to get into stuff, man, but nothing's hitting my levels. You know, Microsoft's 291, DraftKings looks like it wants to continue to go higher. AMD,
watch out for Indo.
Go ahead.
No, INDO from yesterday's action, I guess, got to $9 yesterday. Afternoon, it made a spike to $8.50 and failed. It just did exactly the same thing. So I just saw it run, make a move to this $8.50 and pull back sharply. If that's a fail break at this price, then I'm going to jump. I actually did pay for shorts on this earlier, anticipating there could be a move. I just didn't see it coming. It made that bounce and went almost into halt territory off of $7 before this consolidation and breakout. I'm taking the short off the consolidation. If it breaks 8.25, I'll get out and look for that 8.50 level. But this is a day two play. It's already failed at these prices before, so a little bit more aggressive than I might normally be here. So I got an 86 short. I'll give it about 40 cents or so, but I think the reward is down to $7 on that name. I mentioned Virgin Galactic. We got in and out of that one rather quickly. I want to show you guys the 15-minute because there's so much room. If space wants to squeeze, fair enough. If it breaks above, like I said, we'll give it to that 830 area. If it breaks that, I'm not even thinking about it till 850, 860. If it wants to squeeze, there's just a ton of room in this last couple of weeks for this to go, and you're short off the bottom. So you can't give it forever in that particular case. That's a good way to get absolutely busted. AMD, this is the one that I guess is going to be a bit of a disappointment so far. It's not a huge move, right? That's the thing we got to consider. It's only been about $1, but either way, I need it to settle down off the open and pick a direction. It's gone back and forth that dollar now twice, Brendan.
Initial down move there for Overstock, guys, off of the open on decent volume, but right back up. Look at this, about to take out the highs. Trying to go further here for OSTK. Remember, 15% on the short side.
Overstock?
I was looking at 50 on that thing.
On Overstock? Yeah.
And it might get there. Overstock might get to 50. It's a pure squeeze play as far as I'm concerned. You know which direction I like to play. I'm not chasing longs in something that's just squeezing.
Okay, I like Overstock. Microsoft as well, 291. I mean, I'm trying to see if Intel just doesn't want to move. That sucks because we're on that name. Let's check out to see what TDOC is doing. I believe that's a New York stock. Always tries to trick us there. 65. So still not really in its spot yet for my concern. So we'll have to wait to see what that one wants to do now. Whoopsies, that is Overstock right now. I just made a mistake there on stock, so we'll get back in on that one. TDOC 65. I mean, it's just nothing's at these levels that we like right now, guys. So not much to do here for me. Waiting to get long. We're trying to be as patient as we can. Palantir on watch, Ford on watch, Facebook on watch.
Yeah, so I mean, I got Indo. It's basically flat. I think I'll bid out some in front of 750 at 1-to-1, but Overstock, it kind of feels like a run to 50 might be the next play. We'll see what happens there. I'm also watching, remember NEO? That's making a bit of a pop to the upside. Nowhere near that 23, so it didn't actually come into play for me. But it got close enough that I think if the trend continues, we might be looking at a fade off of 23 even. Going back to a firm, that was the other one we're looking at off a 38 level. I was about to say that was starting to get back to the upside at 37, and then look, it just dropped 30 or 40 cents. So it feels like the sell is on. I might look to get back into something like a Virgin if it starts to slow down. That and Overstock and Indo, those are more squeeze type plays, but one of these rollovers in just a weak name overall might be the way to go. And I keep going back to Roblox, which worked for us in yesterday's trade. That got pretty close to that 49 level. Maybe it has the juice to give me a short off that top. I just need it a little bit higher. Okay, maybe Intel's coming in now. As the market is falling down here, 0.78, it's still not coming in. Still at its lowest. We were trying to take Intel near this 45.25 area. As that is, okay, here it comes in. So we'll see if it drops back down in. There it is. So there we go. We got long now, 28. So that's what we wanted. We wanted to take this Intel price right off the 50-period moving average. Obviously, we identify the market coming in. Realistically, I want to spank this thing to the long side right now, but it has to come in first, right? So here it comes. We'll see if it can get back going to the upside right now. But Intel will hold out for this. 40's been the high, so if we can slip something out now, might not be a horrible idea. So Intel right now, already in the money 7 cents, might not be a horrible idea, guys. So Indo, that actually kind of whipsaw action. Like, it just gave me the bid in front of 770. So we'll be able to do a little bit of a backflip as it looks like it's trying to roll over. But until this gets closer to that 7 even, I don't think that we can really be celebrating this too hard. I feel like after a day two type of event, it's the third time it's made a run up here, but day two in this recent run, and it fails at a similar price at a lower high. This should be back to that 7 even a little bit more quickly as some profit taking comes into it. Brendan?
Big mover yesterday, guys. Another one. OCGN back to the upside here, trying anyways to get back above 350. Offering out aftermarket. Remember, this thing got up to 4.5 yesterday, all the way down to 3.5 today for Ocugen.
Honestly, this is what I'm talking about. Let's go, man. For my man Tim right here. Let's do a little belly dance action. And look, it only takes one trade. There it is. How about 20 cents? Boom, right there. There it is. Now we're going to back. Oh, whoa, he didn't break 50 there. But there's Intel right there, guys. That's what it takes. Sometimes it's as easy as that. Pick the right stocks. Be patient as you can. And look, it normally doesn't take 6 minutes to get into a trade, but we're pretty happy we did on this one as Intel, nicely done, up to 45.50. We're long at 45.28 there for Intel. So, I mean, we could let's take out another piece right now at 47 if we can, and it just rips right through us. So there it is again, guys, a good little trade for us as we'll go with the first bang today on Intel. A nice little victory lap for us on INTC. Let's see how high it can go up now. Intel, we're already out of half.
Yeah, and a bit of a triple top forming on that IMPP. Remember, that's the other low float name. We talked about that dollar finding support. It tried to break it at the open, did a failed break. Volume churning back to the upside for a 115 potential breakout to the upside on this name. Look, it's got tons of room on the daily chart. So, like I said, I'll short it if it wants to make a failure at this price, but it has to be one that we're willing to reverse. And even if we get a shot going long at like an even dollar, 101, 102, that can be the play. That's a 10% point range that you can have and make some money off of this. So I just grabbed it at 113. If it breaks 115, to me, it's an easy out, but that's a triple top, and I'm going to take that just about every single time. So IMPP, we're in this one earlier. We're just sort of jumping back into the name as it makes that other test of the high. Going back to INDO, which is the other one. That broke VWAP and looked like it was about to capitulate and then caught another bid and trying to get back above that $8 range. This one now can't turn into a losing trade, but got to monitor it. It might not be done making its run here on INDO.
Right. Just having a look to see if there's anything else. We missed, look at this, look at NEO. We missed this trade, but look at it go, go, go. We talked about liking the long on this trade. Unfortunately, it just doesn't hit our levels or else we'd be all over this long. But for right now, yeah, no long in for NIO, but there it goes, man. Nicely done to the upside here. So if you're trading on NEO, congratulations, as it looks like it's been working pretty damn good here for the long side. So NEO continues to rock and roll here up to 22.40. Give it to him, Brendan.
Another little one trying to go here. CoStar Group after earnings. Oh, it's not too little. 24 billion on the market cap. CSGP down huge after big miss for them. Forecast was light too. It already halted a couple of times here. Back to the upside for CSGP.
So we'll ring a little register here for that triple top on IMPP already, getting back into VWAP. And look, if it wants to bounce off one, that's fine. We're going to take profit out in front of it. AMD, that's going to be a pain in the butt. If I have a frustrating stock, it's going to be this AMD, which makes that other test down. I was on the bid at literally at 75, and it just went to 82 there. It's making lower highs, so it feels like it does want to try to come back in. So patience might be the way to go here. And Overstock, which has been going absolutely nuts, got to 49.73. So it made its test. It made a bit of a fail, at least for now, at $50. And that's going to be the level I was going to work with. I want to see it turn first and then try to jump into the selling. So allowed it to get to 50 and try to consolidate here around that 49 range. And then I'm going to jump into some overstock because it gives me a clear to find out. If it breaks 50, I'm out. If it pulls back to VWAP, that's $2 from here. So it's 2-to-1 on a VWAP pullback, and 51 is an obvious line in the sand, at least for now. I mean, if Overstock takes this level out, I mean, heck, there's not a heck of a lot standing in its way. These names that are beaten up, there's a lot of room for it to go, and the next level is like $55 on Overstock. Don't forget, this is a short squeeze at this point.
Yeah, exactly. That's another good point there, man. Sometimes you got to remember that these stocks don't just go up. Sometimes they go down. So watch out for Overstock there as it looks like it wants to make that move to the downside. Here comes the futures. So we definitely have to make sure that we are all over this right now with these futures because Intel, we already took a nice little run to the upside. We'll have to see what happens now. Does it continue its move back down? We took a nice bid there at at 55. Obviously, it's an offer to the downside right now. So let's watch out for Intel. Still moving around here, but to the downside, possibly. Look at the futures starting to make new moves downside. So let's wait to see if that comes through again for us. But right now, there it is, a nice little move back to the upside. So hopefully that can work out for us. This may give us an opportunity to get long NEO, but we're still waiting for sub 22. So if that can come through, we still have this 2150 area to come in and out of. So that's going to be NIO, guys.
Yeah, we'll do a little this action for Overstock. And again, if you're trading counter trend, don't make a trade unless you have an out, man. Like, I don't mind stopping out on Virgin Galactic because it's a tight stop, risk reward was good, and I'm not fighting the stock. But Overstock, I waited for 50. It made the curl. You don't have to be in front of that level. You can wait for it to consolidate. Now it's gone first level into VWAP here. I just got the first out for $1. And if it wants to continue, heck, I think 46 is pretty reasonable, 46.5 maybe. So if we can catch a couple of bucks on the last part of this trade, it won't have to break the trend for us to get that target. And that can be the key when you're going against the grain a little bit on some of these names. INDO, this is the other one. I keep thinking it's like it's about to capitulate and then it just catches a little bit of a bid. So far, it does feel okay, but I might slip something in to get something out maybe like 740, 750, is thinking it might not crater all the way to 7. There are some buyers on this name to at least be concerned about. And then IMPP, you know, it's crazy. Like I had some long ideas today, and of course I find myself only in shorts. IMPP with the triple top at 115. It did get down to this 105 VWAP. I have half of it out because $1 is that support level, and there's no way that I don't want to cover this in front of a buck. That's what happens with these penny stocks. It's just too big of a psychological level. There's always buyers in front, at least temporarily.
All right, let's try to get a little more long here in Intel. If it does come back in a little bit, let's put another bid at 30 and see if we can get a bid there for INTC. What's Palantir doing? PLTR. Let's have a quick look over here on PLTR. Look, I'm waiting for something to hit. Like, I mean, Palantir again needs to come back into this 1080, 1090 area. So that's a no trade for me. Facebook, how far up are we? 205.50. Oh man, I mean, big move down. We've missed a lot of these moves, man. I mean, I was not expecting this, you know, some of these names to have ripped the way they did here off the open. But what about taking a Facebook right now? I mean, what do we think about these futures, guys? I mean, we're starting to break back down. We can see 14,000 again, maybe, but here come the futures to the downside. So yeah, some of these names holding up quite well, which is surprising to me. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, but for right now, nicely held to the upside. Some of these stocks, Facebook coming back in right here, right at the 50-period moving average of 205 flat. So yeah, we could take a 205 short, especially if this market's going to crash. Might not be a horrible idea. So 205 short here on Facebook. Let's do that trade. What's up, Brendo?
Just checking on lows, guys. As far as the earnings call is concerned, just a heads up, just trying to take out day highs here. Decent volume spike there back to the upside for lows.
Yes, sir. And now we're getting that Indo.
Yes,
you know
sir.
You know what I'm talking about. INDO, Prad. It's INDO. That's the name of the stock. I'm not talking about anything else. It's now rolling back over. I said I'd take some out at 740, but now looking for that 7 even to start to come in there. So, yeah, it's once again, the shorts just seem to be in. I can't make it happen in the market. It's just whichever works. Like you take what the market's going to give you in this situation, and it's decided it wanted to give me the short setups. But PayPal, this is another one that we're looking at. It's still curling downside. 100 could always come back into play. At least for now, it's managing to hold at 104. There was a failed break at 105, which looked juicy, but there was no volume, which is why I didn't like the break. I was actually mentioning that in the chat. You needed volume on that name. Affirm, which is another one where, whatever, man. Affirm's down at 36. Your shot was at the open. Looks like I've obviously missed out on my chance to get at Affirm today.
All right, so we did take another shot here on the short. We had to reload it because as soon as we got short, it just ripped. You could see the futures here, you know, dancing around, trying to go back to the upside. So obviously, you can't be short Facebook. We talked about Facebook yesterday and what kind of a runner that name was for us. So you have to watch out for Facebook again here today, and maybe to the downside. We'll take a little bit of pressure off here just in case it doesn't come to the upside here. But that's going to be Facebook right now, looking to make some moves here, obviously to the downside. I'm looking, but 206.20 is my out, right up here. I just don't want to mess with it. Like if it breaks upside and the market rallies, then we could test 207. So this one will be a dollar hit on Facebook if we retest that 206.20. So those are the levels. Was just thinking the NASDAQ was failing there. But again, you know, and I said maybe we come back up to 14,000. So that is another level of concern for me. But hey, man, sometimes you just stick with the best names, the names that you've been trading. And there goes Intel as well. Nicely to the upside. Oh, now we have that stupid wick there. We'll have to clean that up. But there's the reloaded on Intel there. Some nice bids. We talked about Intel would probably be my best stock today, or at least one that I wanted to trade pretty aggressively. So there it goes. Intel nicely done to the upside now. 11, 12 cents in the money as Facebook screaming back down. Hopefully these futures want to come down as well. Brendo, kill him.
Yeah, guys, got absolutely demolished following earnings as well. 78% currently. KOD went 51 down to 11, trying to bounce here. Some volume to the upside for KOD.
Oh, yeah, Kodiak is definitely a crazy one. Overstock, so we'll win on the first front, and then it breaks that 50 even. This is why you've got to take some profit when you're going that counter trend. That's how you manage to not turn it into a losing trade. If you just hold the entire bag, then you're left holding that bag. On the daily chart, I'm looking at the 50 period. That's about 52.5, and then 55 even. Those are the next two stops on Overstock, at least to that upside, which is what we're going to be paying attention to. I'm not going to chase something that's gone this far. Roblox. Whoops, it's still in the New York. Last I checked, Neil. That is continuing its, I don't want to say crater, but sign of weakness is the best way to put it here. If it gets back toward that 49, that's still a level that we can trade actionably. It was pretty good yesterday. no, I can't pull that back. We'll go to the 15. It was pretty good yesterday at the open, sort of rolling over off of 49, and you're just back into the same range. It's got to break 50 for it to be a true breakout. Otherwise, I don't think we're seeing anything too exciting here on Roblox other than the short. That reverb, that was the other small cap that we were in. We definitely like that pop and fade trade. I got out of that one in the pre-market and then re-engaged it at the open. It just made another test up at 215. I just took a bid, some out at 210 there, sorry, at 2 even with a 210 short. I got 185 at the open, but it has yet to really hold below 190. So that's got to be another profit-taking center between 190 and 2 even. That's REVB, another low floater, so always have to have an out here. It breaks out past those teens, and I'm going to be out of this one as well, looking for that 250 top. So still would like some of those longs. AMD just did not cooperate, and I didn't want to buy it away from the level I wanted. It never got to that 116.50, so I didn't get the long.
Look at this, guys. Today's one of these days.
Money, 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 money.
2 trades only today. Facebook right now, 75 cents in the money, right? Intel, 20 cents in the money, and it's been reloaded. So that's more money dropping down here for us on Intel. As there it is, man. We're long Intel 45.30 right now, as that's taking out days high as we go. And the futures are down. That's the crazy part about it. Futures are down, and we are crushing Intel to the long right now. So let's get another piece out if we can, as I'm just noticing, like, hey, I mean, how long are the futures going to be down for? So let's just, there it is, out again. And now we'll wait for higher highs here on Intel, including into the 60s, 70s, and beyond, as we are almost out of all of our Intel on a scalp trade through. And that's the thing, man. Know what you're doing and trade your plan. And that's exactly what we're doing here on Intel. Scalping, boom, boom, boom. Tons of outs here. Double the fun on this trade. Nicely done to the upside. I hope you guys are able to take advantage of some of these plays as well. And without any further ado, Brandon, give us some news, bud.
This new bank guy is getting crushed right now. New holdings. I believe there was earnings on this as well. Double check. Yeah. Might be the call, but that's pretty ugly. Right from the word go this morning. 9.75 all the way down to $8 here for NU.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we knew they reported too, and that was just another one that might have got missed. At this point, I'm a little surprised that it actually hasn't halted as ugly as it's been. And there was a big level. Come on, did it already break? Yeah, it looks like it already took at that level on the 15. That was just at about $8. If it tries to check back up, I'd be looking to that previous floor, which looks like 830 to 850 on a bounce. That's the best you can do. When you're late to the party, you better be well dressed, and that means you better have a good price. And to me, that means, it has to get back up to 830 to 850, or I don't want to touch it. It's probably SSR, by the way, because it looks like it hit 10% at one point. We'll see.
Oh, man. I meant to do this one, guys, as Facebook just to the downside right now. We just took $1.20 on this short. That was a good reload, man, as the futures did not test higher there. So good trade there for me on Facebook to the downside. Let's just wait to see where it goes from here. It's $1 in the money. We just took a piece out, though, man, 204. Like, we were just waiting for that 204 to hit. So when it did, that's where the money came through. Good out on Intel as well for me, as we're holding 20% of the second position now. So obviously we're out of the first one. Second one was better and a better reload, and took advantage of that. So we're going to hold that and see where the futures go from now. Palantir, Facebook, Microsoft, and AMC was the only other name on the sticky note today. So let's have a quick look at AMC and see where we're going with this one. Okay, so AMC 1670, still near these bottoms. I like to see, I know what's up, Niagara Charlie. I like to see it down here a little bit before I do anything near $16. So that's sort of the area of concern for me here on AMC. So we'll leave that one alone. And then Mr. Softy on a market move down is something that we want to look at. So, okay, here it comes. 289. I wrote down here 285, and that we'll look to buy in the 288 area. So we are bidding 288 and change. If that can come back in, this is yesterday, sort of. Sure, we dipped down near the close to 286, but we were dancing around this 288 level. So let's see, it's like 287, 288. If the market continues to fall down, obviously we have Facebook, that's $1 in the money, but we will look to pick up some Microsoft around that 288 level. Another name that I like, Softy, 288, guys.
And I finally got into AMD, so we waited for 116.50. It just made a bounce off of that 50 level. So once it bounced off the level, I'm going to then get in on that consolidation. If it breaks and makes a fresh low, we're going to get out with a tight stop. If I'm catching a falling sword, I always want to make sure I have a good out because the next levels down are $2 away. $6 away. And if that's going to be the case, I'm not going to sit there holding on forever. Either we make the turn right here where I like it, or we hunt back for a better price. Market's starting to come in here, or it has been coming in, and you don't want to be going against the grain forever. Like I said, mostly the shorts have been what's working. Speaking of which, I said on IMPP, and there's a stock IMMP that I almost accidentally punched into at one point. But IMPP, $1 has some size on it, so I'm going to get all out in front of a buck. And then if it breaks $1, there's always another trade to be had on the stock breaking that one even. Looks like at this point that could be pretty likely on IMMP. Indo is sort of in a holding pattern, I want to say, for now, at that 730 area, 730 to 750. Looks like it was a good decision to cover. If it gets to 7 even, I'm going to be all out of this one. But right now, it's looking like it's trying to make another move back to the upside. It can't turn into a losing trade. I haven't tightened my stop yet. I probably should be tightening up to at least break even. No point giving it to 8.25. So I'll go ahead and throw like maybe an $8 stop just to give it some room, but not the entire bag all the way.
Man, yeah, I'm just making keystroke errors left, right, and center here. Okay, so yeah, Intel's back in, which is fine. I might as well, let's just get out of one more piece here, why not? There we go, we'll take out another piece on that name. But yeah, Intel right now back in on there to the sell side. Actually, we're not back in, we're trying to sell some of this trade right now. So Intel, we're trying to sell this trade. We just got a piece out, now we're pretty light on it. The reason why is because bang, there, our things aren't working, Lucas. Our animation's not on right now, but there goes Facebook down to the downside. Down goes Facebook, down goes Facebook, down goes Foreman, down goes Holmes, down goes everybody. As you're going to the downside, 203.80 right now, trying to take it out. We may just get out of this name. I'm just nervous about the market here. And I mean, if we're nervous about the market, then we don't need to be holding on to anything right now. So let's just hold on to the shorts, get rid of our longs. We're out of Intel. We have a small piece left on that one, but we do have Brendan. So what's up, my man?
There's a few more Russian headlines coming through there, guys, talking about more to come possibly from the Russian side moving into Ukraine. U.S. expecting something in the next 48 hours. So that seemed to cause that last leg down there in the market, guys.
Look, thank you for that. And look, headline risk is part of it. So it's at that situation now where this happened yesterday. You got to think about like holding on to your shorts. Sean mentioned down goes Holmes. That wasn't Ali. It was Tyson that beat Holmes. I told him the story. My very first sports wager, sorry, Mom, was with my mom because she knew who Larry Holmes was and like, oh, he's going to beat that kid. And I'm like, Mike Tyson? I was tiny. I barely knew anything. No. But I'm like, no, I've seen him fight. He's gonna win. I was a boxing fan growing up. That was easy money. Larry Holmes was like 38 years old.
Yeah.
Shout out to Larry Holmes. He's a great fighter, but it is what it is. REVB, this is one, it's like a tale of two cities, a tale of two trades. The open looked fantastic. The rollover gave you 185. We got back into it, and then we're able to get some out at 2, and then stopped out at break even. It's now put another flush in, so a bit frustrating for me, at least so far, but you did take some profit on the way, just wasn't able to hold on to it too long there. And it's like Roblox, Affirm, pick whichever one you want. You gotta stay with these shorts, I think, sometimes. I never got into Roblox. I was really too, what's the word? I was too cheap. I was trying to get it really close to 49, and it just never happened. Same thing with Affirm. However, I said, need to be patient with Virgin Galactic. We take that for a short. I'm not gonna hold it. I'm not gonna average into it. Either it rolled over from the start, or I'm going to wait for another level. It's now gone parabolic, made 2 tops, one at $9 just now. But much like Overstock, it made a fail break at 9. Now it's consolidating below. This is at least a level I can start getting into saying, okay, well, I know where I'm going to be wrong off that high of the day. And instead of just needlessly averaging into it or fighting the stock for too long, I can just jump in on this consolidation, know where my risk reward is going to be, and then play it into the south side. You mentioned Facebook, they're moving to the downside. Just want to note, remember Block hasn't reported. We keep talking about PayPal. Come on, Square. Block hasn't reported. It's right back down to that 93 level. So this is breaking yesterday's lows. Fresh low right now for Block. Look, on any kind of a bounce, I think this is shortable. 90 even stands out there, but there's a lot of risk at headline in this name. That's probably why PayPal couldn't get off the hump, this move down we're seeing in Square.
My hump. Okay, let's just keep going
say the
here.
rest,
Yeah, my lovely lady humps, apparently. Okay, Intel, 14 cents now in the money on that reload position, so we can definitely have a look there, as that is an area, obviously, of concern here. Intel upside, so that's a good one for us. New position alert, and I don't know where this is going to go. We got 70s on NEO. We were able to get 20% out at 77 now. We are noticing that NEO is not playing around anymore, so let's just wait to see how far NIO wants to go. It may come to the downside. I'm surprised that the futures are starting to bump up a little bit, and NEO is actually continuing its move down. So we're going to have to watch out for 21.50, but not worried about it yet, but definitely somewhat concerned here for NIO. Facebook still $1.40 in the money. It did make that bottom, though, at 203.70. I think that's probably something that we'll take. Let's just see if it comes back again. The out is really 204.80, but again, we're already $1.50 in the money. Like, you know, this could go up a little bit more here and clap us out of that. But this is something that I want to hold. I think I want to hold Facebook here, so I'm not super worried about it. But again, Facebook is a name that I feel like has some downside pressure to it, so that's one that we're going to hold.
Yeah, and look, this is the thing. If you've got something that's working the money, there's no need to rush to get out of it or take profits. You've just got to go with the trend. I feel like I should have jumped back into Overstock when it failed at 50. Even at that point, look, I was trying to see where I could get into Affirm, get into Roblox. I couldn't get into either one of them. I also found a level to get back into Virgin Galactic. But Overstock 50, yeah, it makes that second push down, but it's still holding VWAP. If it bounces off this level, might get a third crack at the 50 level, which is just fine by me. I talked about space, about getting into it. I didn't go over the plan of action, which we should always do. It's going to stand out 875 here. I'm going to take some shares out in front of 75 and then probably in those 60s. If it can get back down below VWAP and hold, then maybe it wants to give everything back. And in a falling market, I could definitely see that happening. Unable to add in front of 9, that just meant it went in the money right away. It's been a wild first half an hour of the markets, but it has moved pretty quickly. Brendo, what is happening now? Because it certainly feels red.
Hi guys, still positive. That's the good news at this point. 0.48 for the S&P, the Dow, about 0.5% as well. The NASDAQ, same story. So holding on to positive territory, but again, some headline risk still in play. Ethereum and Bitcoin having a pretty good day so far. Moving in the right direction. A couple of things we were talking about if you joined us in the pre-market this morning. There was Ford, there was Lowe's, there was some of the Chinese EV makers. Ford filing to recall 330,000 vehicles. If you missed it, still positive. Good news. Lowe's as well. Decent report for them, trying to hold on to gains for LOW is testing the highs. My last one, there we go, was not populating there, guys. But Chinese EV makers still having a pretty good day as well, guys.
For now, I mean, Tesla, thank you in the chat, by the way. If there's a reason why this community is amazing, like look at how many things we're trying to go over and had a plan of action for a lot of them, but you don't catch them all. Tesla getting close to that 800. So it's like having honestly, it's like having an alert system the bigger the community is. So do hit the share, do hit the like. We're going to point out the key levels, but sometimes the discussion that you guys have is just as valuable. Tesla 800 was a huge bottom yesterday. If you were trading, you know what I'm talking about. So we're going to be looking at that coming back in. Watch out. If you're trading any other EV name at this particular time, you kind of know Tesla bouncing off 800 is certainly going to maybe give some cover. Not certainly, but it's likely to give some cover to whether XPeng, NEO, Li Auto, if you happen to be watching that, Rivian, which I should have been looking at. We're at 807 now. But at this point, it feels like you're waiting for 800. There's no need to get too far out in front of that as the market really starts to, I guess, accelerate to that downside, guys. And like I said, I have 3 shorts on. AMD, it got through first level, in and out. If I've done it right, then on my 15-minute, then the 2 triangles should be over each other. That means I didn't get stubborn about it. And there's nothing to see until you get about to 113, 114. That's why you get in. If it breaks a level, you just take the pain and get out of it. DWAC was the other name disappointment from yesterday in terms of its price action. It hasn't tested 85. It's still in the middle of this range. A little surprised it hasn't broken down with the market here, but I suppose it is down 5%. If it holds 85, that's the only level I think is worth defending until you get to about $80 even. But Tesla 800, that looks like it's coming fast.
Yeah, and that's, so NEO right now also getting hit back down. So I think this is about time. Let's just wait for NEO to make a move a little bit lower here. It's at that 2150, so we'll just offer it out. and get out. So there it is. So we're out of NEO. That one is a flush down the toilet, although not a huge hit, but definitely a hit. So not super happy, obviously, with the way NEO panned out here. But again, in, out a little bit. We only got out of 30% there, like we said, and then we got the other 70% out downside. So not a good trade, but hey, we'll talk about the winners and the losers. Intel, we might as well get out of this one as well, as the market just keeps on crashing back down. This is a flat trade for us on Intel. We only have 5% left of that trade. So Intel starting to move to the downside as well. What's up, Brendo or Val?
Hey guys, Krishna Himiri sent super chat to Neil saying, thank you sir for OSTK short. You made my day very dark green. Well, thank you so much Krishna for your super chat and great job Neil. And guys, if you find our short helpful, entertaining and great, please make sure you like this video. This means a lot to us. Back to you guys.
You know, one of my favorite things is if I get like a partial win on a stock, or it's like it went well, but I didn't get exactly what I was looking for, if someone else hit it. And I love to see that, because remember, like I got the first half out, you know, when we got that dollar, and then it broke the top, and I didn't get back into overstock. And sometimes that's what it's all about, trading one or two names. But if you're going over to every setup that sets up for you, I got to find a better way to say that, then you might miss out on one when things happen at the same time. Thankfully, you know, we sat out Virgin Galactic, and this is what I mean about you get in off a level, it breaks, you get out. You take the hit, and then say, if I want to be to the short side of the trade, it can't just be anywhere. I need to see the selling come in when it goes parabolic. So I allow it to go twice. At first was obvious, sort of off of that 119 level, sorry, that $9 level. I got some out in front of VWAP. IMPP just broke 115. It looks like it finally made that bounce off a buck. We were out of more than half of it in front of $1, saying if it holds $1, this stock could still break out. This is a quadruple top. It's looking to make the break, so I am reversed into a long in this name. Of course, now it wants to capitulate, but if it holds $1, I think the long can still be good off the buck on IMPP. I was short 3 times this morning. The last one was semi-successful. Now I'm going to try my hand at the long, but under $1, this is an obvious short. It just hasn't managed to break that yet.
All right, some of these stocks starting to go back to the upside a little bit here. Palantir's right at a nice level, so I think that we could probably try to go long now on Palantir off this 1075. So let's take a couple bids. Okay, there we just got 84. Let's take a couple more bids here off that 75 and like maybe 78. We'll try to average into this one and then see if it breaks below that 1075. That's the sort of the levels that we're going to look at here for Palantir. As we average in, we are now long on this. You can see 1075 is where we bounced earlier off on the pre-market. Obviously, the low should be like 1060, 1065 here, but let's just wait to see. Maybe there is going to be something here that we can do with Palantir as it continues its march down, but we're going to use that 1075 as an area of concern for me. So that's going to be what we're looking at now for Palantir, back to the downside. 1075, guys, on PLTR.
Yeah, now Virgin Galactic wants to go down. I'm going to, look, I'll call it a roller coaster. There's another key that I could hit, but you know, when I'm talking about like if it's Boeing or I'm talking about Virgin Galactic, I'm not going to put a graphic of something crashing. But anyways, it is crashing back down to earth at this particular moment. But as much as I want to celebrate it, guess what's at 800 and begins with T and ends in Tesla? Tesla is at 802. Oh, yeah, it looks like it didn't quite get to 801 there, but bouncing. Man, I hate when that happens. Okay. You pull up the stock, it's at 802, and next thing you know, I'm staring at 805. I thought imminently we're about to get an 801 print and then catch that bounce. It's now gone twice, 802 to 806. So that might be the support, and it's like I'm not getting to 800, you're not going to have it, and if you do, you're not going to want it. A lot of times when you make that consolidation range, if it breaks 02s, it's probably breaking 800 even. Might have missed out that chance. I guess if you got a little bit further out in front of it, you got yourself a nice winner, but I'm not chasing anything in this day. Like to me, either give me my price or I don't want it. Overstock might be able to get a chance bouncing off VWAP to short 550 again. But it's running out of time to make that move. Looks like the capitulation could be in. At least we got it back in Virgin Galactic. And we said we'd be looking at lows potentially today in those earnings. I was kind of hoping that it would at least attempt to pull back. Not really. Lows up 5% and looking strong. So with the market down, where's your relative strength? Squeeze play overstock. Lows on strong earnings here today. And I'm probably missing something, but it's not a lot. Not too much is moving upside today.
No, yeah, pick your poison on the upside trade for sure. Facebook right now, yeah, buddy, let's go. This is $2 in the money now for Facebook to the downside. We don't have any bids. It looks like it wants to keep going to the downside, so we're here for that if that does come through. So right now, downside move coming for FB. Let's see if we can hold out for that. Who knows where it's going now? But I'm thinking there goes Tesla. Apparently just broke that 800.
Yeah.
We're already.
That's what I mean.
Right back. So
yeah, you can't take it the second time.
Yeah, I mean there it is. I mean the violence here with the spread too, right? So you're about 50 cents or so worth of spread, maybe a little bit better than that. But when it opens up, obviously it can be a lot worse. So let's wait to see what happens here with Tesla breaking now to the downside. Yeah, I'm glad we got out of all of our longs pretty much. NEO's DAC down to 21.44 and still going to the downside. Facebook is now $2 in the, which is good. And then Palantir is right now, we just got loaded up. Our average price is 80 on Palantir. So would be really nice if this market could hold these levels, but it doesn't look like it wants to. Here comes 75. The market is tanking. The only short we have on is Facebook, but here we go. Wish we had Palantir short. It's going to come out if we break 75. Not messing around, guys.
I mean, I wish I had a firm short. I wish I had Roblox short. I wish I had a million other things. So there was a bit of a fail break on Tesla there, and it gave you a shot to go 800 long with a 99 stop. If I see a setup that's $1 risk on Tesla, I'm pretty much going to take it every time. But that was in and out very, very quickly. You're accelerating now to the downside. I'm just kicking myself that I wasn't more aggressive in NEO. We're going to go to Brennan in a quick sec, but that one got to 22.50. 23 was a level. It just wasn't far enough, but the rollover is now en masse in all these EV names. Brendo?
Rackspace, guys, trying to roll over once again. Big mover to the downside aftermarket yesterday on earnings as well. Got back to pre-market highs, but struggling here at 850 for RXT.
Yeah. Rackspace is another crazy one, by the way. I was just sort of just joking around. Like, there's so many names to the short side today that we felt had rollover potential, but the setup just didn't quite get to you. And unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. And I'm going to pull one up here because I think we mentioned this about 3 or 4 times as a potential trade, and that was Rivian, and why we get away from Rivian despite the fact that it's been a really good trade for, I think, both of us the last little while. And this is my 15-minute chart. I'm just going to leave it up for a quick second to see if you can figure out what might have been obvious here on Rivian. There was previous support at 63. It closed right around that 63, finding resistance. It then broke that level and fell a clean $5. So, man, I don't know what else to say at this point. I'm just disappointed in myself for not looking at Rivian here today. Virgin Galactic, sure, it had the earnings, but Rivian has been a gorgeous setup almost every single time off the open. It's given you a pop to a level or a straight drop. In this case, it was a straight drop.
Yeah, I'm just pissed off now because obviously Palantir's come right back. So we took a hit there that we need not have taken to the downside 74, as now we'd be in the money pretty huge on this stock. So that sucks. Okay, but Facebook right now trying to find an out here, because if this market rallies, I mean, Facebook's going to take off, and we already have a nice winner here on board for us. So, you know, I'm looking at 204.50. So let's put that in right now for Facebook, 204.50. We'll give some back. I mean, but we have to adjust our sights here, right? So 204.50 coming out now. If that comes and breaks, it's actually, yeah, 204.50 is fine. That's what we're looking at now. So we'll put that offer in $1 higher there. New trade alert, AMC. So nice little win here for us on AMC. We said, man, what's up, Niagara Charlie? We said we'd be patient with this name, as there it is, man, up into the 30s. So that's going to be a good trade for us. Let me see where my other outs are. I have one at 35, then one at 49 to the upside. So there's a nice little win for us right there on AMC. As you can see, we were as patient as we could be on that one. We got 1620s, basically the low of the day here on AMC. So hopefully this one can take us back to the promised land here. Everything's been fine. I mean, I'm mad at Palantir because look where we are now. We averaged in, our average price was 70, or sorry, our average price was 80, so that would be 6 cents in the money, which normally is a scalping situation for me on on Palantir, so that kind of sucks. Check back on Intel. Intel bouncing off of 45. I don't know if I want this yet. Maybe if we break above the 50 period. We've already hit Intel, my number one stock today, and we talked about that off the sticky note as well. So Intel, chance to go upside as well here. So yeah, lots of stuff happening. We're going to wait for Palantir one more time until it breaks. I think Palantir's strong. I mean, you're up 3% today, almost 4%. The market is down today. Palantir is up. So watch out for this 90 break. If this breaks, we want to go long one more time. Unfortunately, it's going to be harder to find an out, but I just think that's the right play. So let's see if Palantir wants to continue its move to the upside.
So speaking of moves to the upside, Virgin Galactic just bounced. We got something like we said about 850 in front of that 850 level at 855. It just went all the way back into VWAP. If you into Head and Shoulders, then I guess 890 would be that top. It's also that consolidation point. So now I want to be shorting in front of that. Now that the trend has moved back to the downside, at least temporarily. Affirm is a name that someone just asked, like, oh, is Affirm at a shortable level? I mean, you're probably talking about VWAP here. Like, outside of the fact that it happens to be VWAP, and I suppose if you drew a trend line, it would look pretty good at that price, I don't see anything obvious about this price range that makes me like it. You're in the bottom end of some chop here, 36 to 36.60. It's just a much more enticing trade when it gets closer to that high of the day. So being patient makes some more sense to me. This is like the thing about this whipsaw market is, generally speaking, if it tries to reverse a trend, just allow it to move to your price. Don't necessarily jump in too early. I know you get that FOMO of like, well, if I don't get it early, then I'm not going to get the trade at all. Fair enough, but sometimes you should be willing to miss the trade here so that you can get it where you really like it, up at like a 37. I'm using Affirm as an example here, but I could say that about like Overstock at 50 was a similar example as well. I do have to go back to this INDO, which feels like it's catching another bid. So it's still above VWAP at this point. I did tighten the stop up. It's going to have to make another drop down, and if it supports 730 again, then I'm just going to get out of all of it in that 730 range. It'd still be a good trade at that point, just not nearly what I was anticipating. I thought it would flush to $7 pretty quickly after that fail breakout at the open.
Okay, come on, Palantir. Like, honestly, you got to make this thing go for me here. Let's see if Palantir wants to go. There's nothing we can make this stock go or not. We take it at that VWAP, the 50 period level there, and now we're just going to see if it wants to go upside. I mean, I could just sit here all day and wait for something to happen, but I'm hoping right now. I hate to use the word hope, but let's hope that Palantir can go back up to the upside. The market has turned around. It's just crazy that we dumped. It's not crazy that we dumped it there. We had an out. Just sucks that is what it is right now. This is almost getting ready to come out. Unfortunately, we did have a nice bottom here on Facebook. We didn't take it. I don't even know if it hit that 202.50. Like, that was $3 in the money. So that kind of sucks, but whatever. We'll play. We'll pump this long. As there it is, man. Look at AMC go. Wow. No idea about this stock as this is starting to go to the upside right now. AMC. Let's take another piece out at 86. Or 46. We were waiting here for. Did we get that 46? No. Yeah, we did. We were waiting for 49s to the upside. But why are we getting too worried about that? As it wants to continue to go. So let's do that now. Upside right here for AMC. Nothing wrong with cashing a little bit out. That might not be a bad idea.
And just going back to Teladoc, one that already made its run. There's one. I knew there was something that I had actually missed on my notes there. Yeah, it goes right down to 63. 33 is the pre-market bottom. But another name that holds the low, so forget about the wipeout in the post-market. The previous low was 63. It holds it at the open, gets into 69, so gives you that trade, and is now trying to rinse and repeat. If it holds 63, I'm not saying you get all the way back into 69, but it's a good line in the sand, and if you can get halfway, the risk to reward is going to make some sense to me. So I'm going to plot myself on the bid in Teladoc now that things have settled down. But either I get my entry price or I don't. I know where my out is going to be if it breaks that even. Because of the spread, about 10, 15 cents on Teladoc, I think you do have to give it at least a little bit extra. So I'm risking about 50 cents if I get my long. And we are going to Brendan, who's got a name for us.
All right, more earnings, guys. Beauty Health Company, which is Skin on the NASDAQ. Big mover today through 15 up to 17. Huge volume print went off there as it broke 17 right back below. Still up 30% on a nice report for Skin.
All right. Yeah, we'll look at some of these. I'm just making sure that we have the right orders here as I look over at Facebook right now, and it rejects that 0450, and now starts to come back to the downside, which is great for us. It just sucks because once again, getting thrown around on Palantir, like we took that long there, thinking it was going to break and thinking the futures were going to go. So right now we're going to average in right now 2 PLTR and see if this makes any money for us. But I'm not sure at this point, as Palantir right now, nothing but love above, apparently, for the downside here for PLTR. So, oh man, that sucks. Let's reload one more time. This is going to suck for us because we do have a position on that, unfortunately, wants to go against us. The NASDAQ, though, falling through. So here's $3. I just said we just had a $3 winner on Facebook and didn't take it. Well, here it is again. Facebook, $3 in the money, and it's back in. And again, we cannot take it. The market is crashing down, so we're going to try to hold onto that short as we deal with our other positions that are now out of the money pretty decently, like Palantir. Last drop was 70. Let's take a bid now and see if we can get this back to the upside.
Yeah, and I think as the market was coming up, I was just sort of saying to myself, like, okay, where can I reload or get into something that I didn't get into? It never happened on a firm. And look, I'll be the first to say we reloaded on space, and we're going to try to get out here some more shares on the bid in front of this 65 to 50 cluster. But I just preached patience on a firm. And then look, the rollover was fantastic. To me, it's like if I take that trade, where am I getting out? I know where I'm getting out if I take the 37 trade, or at least closer to it. I'm just, I got to have a level, and I didn't have one for a firm. So if you took it, congratulations. We're just giving our own personal advice. And to me, I'd rather miss trades and follow the rules than have the alternative. Of course, I just showed you Virgin Galactic sitting on the bid, and then it just popped back above VWAP there. So anyways, I'm not going to move the bid. We're going to sit in front of that 865, and hopefully we can get it. But I just threw that one in, and you're going to see us back bouncing above VWAP as I speak. Teladoc, as the market was coming down, really did feel like we're about to get that bid in front of 63. Now it's not going to want to load, so I'm just going to do this. This will be easier for you guys. Every time that happens, I just keep telling myself, okay, just show the charts. I'm doing this when I stare up. But Teladoc does not make that move down into 63. I am still on that bid. I just want to make sure I'm getting the price that I like. It did wick down in the post-market, like well past that price range. So I do feel like you have to give some room below that 63 price on TDOC. So I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to jump in too early. This market still, to me, feels weak, which means do not rush to get into longs. Make sure you get it off the level that you like. Again, patience can be a virtue. I do want to talk at least a little bit about Roku. That was a super strong one yesterday, and it's looking relatively weak right now, coming into some key levels. But Brendo is at the big screen for the small cap recap.
Hey guys, yeah, a bit of a quiet day so far for small cap world. Let's have a look at a few that we were discussing in the pre-market. INDO, I mentioned, was kind of stuck in this range from midday yesterday. Still there. 850 on the top. I just took the move into 8 on the rejection of 8. Gave you a move down to 720. Might be it. I got back in just versus this high now just to see what happens here at 775. 780. Trying to bounce though. Decent volume still though for INDO. We'll see what happens with that one. REVB, kind of boring. 220 was this high from the aftermarket yesterday. Took a move into that. Gave you a move back to 190. That's about it though for REVB. Guys, back over to you.
Good one there. That was frustrating for me. We kept taking pot shots at it, and then you'd make profit, and then it would break back out again. It was Roku that I was sort of briefly mentioning, as that was just a monster run in yesterday's action. Obviously, I did make that double top. We traded to the short side, but afternoon support just had a wick bottom here, so it just broke this barely at 119. This is a 15-minute chart just for some better perspective. Had a wick out. Bottom. If it retests the high here, I think I still like that short. 125 would be the price, so it would be the same setup, not at the same time, but the double top action off of 125. It was gorgeous at 128. I think you're getting a little bit of the same here with a relatively weak market, but it's got to be that 125 that we're looking for. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten it just yet, but patience can be a bit of a virtue. Still looking at DWAC as well. 85 hasn't really been tested. Looks like it make a run at 86 here at that bottom end of the range. And 85, 86 is about the only level worth defending on Digital World Acquisition, which had a disappointing debut in the App Store. I mean, it was gapped up, and you couldn't have really lost if you held it from over the weekend. But since the market opened up, it just didn't do a heck of a lot in terms of giving us day trades.
No, it did not. And we'll go reloaded here for a nice trade on Palantir. Thank God that came through there for us. So Palantir on the reload. That's still Facebook. Oh, Facebook, by the way, we're out on that 203 break back to the upside. So the futures started to go back up. Again, I wasn't going to stare that in the face again. That's a $3 winner. So we'll go bang on that one there for Facebook, as that's a nice win for us, man. All said and done. So happy with that trade. 9 cents now in the money, as most of of this, not most of it. We're out of 60% of AMC, so should have done a little bit better on that side. But there's Palantir. There's the reload. Let's just take some more out as we're screaming through 83s there. What is printing? I don't know. I have to see what the gateway is here that's printing for us on 83 because our best out, though, it looks like it's 84, 85. Let's go Palantir back up to the, see, it just keeps on resisting this 83, 84, 85. So let's see if Palantir can get going. We're hoping that it can take out VWAP right there. I don't have any more offers out on Palantir, so hopefully that will come back up to the upside and we'll be able to take that out for much, much bigger of a win on this name. So PLTR, if the futures go, man, let's just hold this one. I'm looking at least for this level again, 88 is going to be an area for me. So I'm going to put an offer right now at 88 and see if we can get some out on Palantir. 88 right now. So that's going to be the level there. What else are we looking at here? AMC's 11 cents in the money. We just got out of Facebook. What's our Intel doing? Bouncing off nicely at 45.10. So again, maybe if we take that out, 45.26, we could have something here on Intel. But right now, all my focus is really on Palantir as we reload it and we have a decent position. So PLTR, let's see where we go from here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. And another one that we thought could come into play today was going to be SoFi at 10. That just bounced off 10.05. I didn't get a very good look at any size on the bid at 10 even, but if it gets closer to the downside, maybe we'll be able to see if there's any kind of a bid. Clearly, it's bounced once. They had that. It wasn't an offering. They made it an all-stock purchase for $1.1 billion, and that's why they were under pressure. But now fresh territories in terms of lows. 10 even's just a round number. Right, like this is it's not exactly like Facebook at 200, but the premise is very similar. If I can defend that price and just try to get a scalp trade off of it, then I'm going to go ahead and do that. But $10 on SoFi now very much in play for us. I'm still trying to get Teladoc off the bid. Virgin Galactic, like I said, I'm not moving my bid to get my next out. Like I want that 865. It's still consolidating lower, and you can see since the parabolic move up, it has settled down. Sometimes just zooming out, looking at the higher time frame can confirm we're not really breaking out of this, I guess, consolidation to the upside. So the short still looks pretty solid here. Just don't want it taking out that top, right? But no reason to change going 865 and then thinking about back to 835 to 850 for my last target out on Virgin Galactic. I do like this one to hold on to if we can for the greater part of the day. But SoFi coming in again now at 10.10. I want to be at like 2 or 3 long with a 10 stop. Like that would be the general idea. And this is what we're looking at here on the bid. It's about 200,000 shares on the bid at 10. Not a gigantic number, but certainly enough that if it can hold once or twice, good for that scalp trade.
Yeah, so right now, I mean, here comes Palantir right back down one more time into this level. So, yeah, a little bit of a concern for me here on PLTR as we've come right back in to another level that, yeah, we were debating reloading right now. Let's do it. Let's take a reload here on PLTR. There it is. We'll take a 72 bid there as it goes through us. I think at this point, because we were able to get a lot out there and notice, obviously we got a lot out, and notice that we resisted one more time the 50 period moving average there. So we'll average back in. And then honestly, this dump of 60, if we can break back below 60, then there's absolutely no point in holding this. Look at the market, man. It's tank city right now, and we still go to the downside. So just be very, very careful with some of these trades, man. The market doesn't want to go up today, that's for sure. Like, I can't believe my Facebook. Anyways, we got out of it. It's fine. We got out of it at 203 there. But what a good short those were, man. 205.80 short there. AMC also nicely done to get out of it, but we are trying to reload it back down here near 16 flat. So we saw some worry spots. Again, we got some out at 16.30, but nicely done back to the 50 period. So, we're watching some of these levels and making sure that we have the right plays and then not holding too far against ourselves. So let's watch out here as AMC looking to reload it. We'll see if it dumps below $16 though. Here it comes.
Yeah, pretty dirty trail out for me just there on the INDO. Like again, you're always going to be happy when you take a winner, but sometimes you're not walking on water. It might not be top wick, but that's pretty close to it on that move. So INDO breaking back out and then stopping me. We said we'd go closer to break even on that stop. It'd still be positive because we did take profit at 40s, but immediately after breaking, it looks like it's retesting VWAP there. Firm continues to look absolutely it's getting dejected down with that 36. So I maybe should have got into that one. It's
shoot.
I mean, you're looking at Palantir. It's just SoFi for me at this point because either you're holding on to a short that you like and allow it to come to you, and that's going to be Virgin Virgin Galactic, or let's try and defend a level that just gives me an obvious out, like $10 on SoFi. It's gone to 9s, and I just want it below 5. I want 2s and 3s. I'm not going to long it at 10s here when I think it's inevitable that we're going to see a test of 10 even. So patience is going to be the name of the game for me on this. And just going back over to the other name that we thought, like yesterday was good on Roblox. It was my number 2, I think. But today we missed out on that trade. Just like Affirm, it can't get above VWAP and continues to fade. So the lesson for me after watching Affirm, Roblox, and Rivian was the names that were the best for the short side of the trade. Forget about the fact that Virgin Galactic reported. Sometimes you just got to go back to what worked in yesterday's action. And those 3 names definitely stood out. And I have neither one of them. I can't be mad at NEO because ultimately, you know, I wrote down 23. It's NEO 23. It didn't come close enough to that level for me to engage a short. So it doesn't matter that I liked it short on the pop today. It didn't give me a trade. So there's an idea, there's a bias, there's a trade that you have to be able to make. SoFi is about to become 1 at 10.
Wow. Yeah, I'm saying wow here because this market just continues to fall down here. So, but we do have a new trade alert, so we'll go yes, sir, on this one. And again, we're trying to be as patient as we can. We waited for Softy to come all the way down to 288, so we have this 288.10 level. We took a piece out at 20, just a small piece there because the market just kept on going down. And I was like, oh, I could take a winner, so let's take that. We did take 20% out for 10 whopping cents on Microsoft, but we're going to try to hold this one to the backside. We have 287.50 as a target for us there on Microsoft, so we'll wait to see if that can come through. 287.50 289.50 is where we're looking for. 287.50 on the downside. So 60 cents worth of risk here on the remaining of this trade. If we can get something out at 289 around there, I think that's pretty reasonable. But again, the market has to bounce. And look at this today. It's no love, man. You get a little bit of bounce here at about 10 o'clock, and that's that. Like, as soon as we took out this 14,000, just straight to the downside. I mean, it bounces around a little bit at open, but then does not want to give it up to the upside. Just more downward movement. And we don't really, the Russian ruble's going down. I don't know if there's any more war talk today, but let's just try to hold on to some of these longs and use our levels in case we start to go back up to the upside. So 288.88, something like that. If we could put an offer there, we'll take a piece out right now of Microsoft, but it needs to get going just a little bit more. Let's see if these futures want to run.
Yeah, and speaking of futures running, to that downside comes PayPal as we extend. I didn't think 100 would come in today. Didn't feel like that was going to be the case on PayPal, but we're now about $2 away from 100 even on PayPal. And like we keep saying, if you can't find a defensible level, then you don't need to be in that long trade. However, you can go to look for something that was relatively strong that might give you a price entry that you like. Now, lows, I mean, look, I prefer 215. I prefer 215 to 17 as an entry point on the name. It is making a bit of a double bottom here. The report was good. If the futures want to at least try to bounce off these levels, not that we're actually even doing it, you do have a higher low to work with. Sorry, not a higher low, but a support level from the opening range at 221 on lows. If it breaches this level, I'm looking 217. If I pick a long that isn't off like a round number or just big size, then I want something that's relatively strong. Lows at least falls into that bucket. Brendo, what's up?
CPTN, SPAC, one that went crazy going back a week or so ago after it was made its debut, I guess I should say. Back in action here again today. It's been halted a number of times already. Decent volume, though, here, trying to get back to the upside here for CPTN. 10:30, that means there's an hour left in the session over in Europe. Miss V is watching what's happening over there. What is positive today, Miss V?
Hey, Brendan, European markets are trading higher today, supported by positive earnings. Barclays trading in London is up more than 3% after its annual profit nearly trebled. Back to you.
Yeah, off the highs, but being dragged down by North America, obviously. Now 0.4 to the downside here for the S&P.
Brennan is good luck, but I'm going to hit the wrong key here because usually I'll do the DAB because I can't find my Brennan Go. It's on a different page. But I'm going to go back to that IMPP. It was doing a heck of a lot of nothing. We shorted it 3 times. the last of which at that 115 stopped out. We then said, okay, it's a long that's potentially breaking out with room to the upside. I'll show you the daily chart, gives you a better idea here. Potentially continuing its breakout above $1. Supported that dollar. I got some at 106 on the dip in front of 1. And there's so much room on this name breaking out here that just once it gets past that 115, I want to play it upside. But it's having trouble reclaiming that level. So I just took some shares out. In fact, half of it out in front of 115. I still want it to break this. As long as it's above $1, I'm likely to defend this a couple of times here, anywhere between 101 to 106 on any dip. I'm going to try and get that long here on IMPP. It's kind of sleepy. That's why, I mean, if it was a little more exciting, breaking outside of the range we get back to. But right now it's in that channel, $1 to 115. And I flipped to going long in front of it.
Come on, let's go. Right now, a nice little long here on Facebook as we waited for that 202. We talked about it. It's on the sticky note here today. So 202 long for Facebook. We have that right now. 202.10. My number one stock today is Facebook. We destroy the short. Now we've got the long. We just took 70 cents there on the long as for taking $3 on the short. So let's reverse that up. Microsoft, nicely done all the way back up. We did take some out in the 40s there as, yeah, we're taking advantage of this bump up. Now, no more offers for Microsoft until we get into those 80s upside. I might even just cancel that one. Let's see if it goes. Let's cancel it. Let's see if we get back up here to the 50 period and see if we could take that as well. And then Palantir averaged in. So this is another name that we're looking at here. PLTR. Let's take an offer at 69 if we can get it. We do. There it is. We do have a big position on. So if that can come through for us, we'll take it and we'll be pretty happy with it. So right now Palantir on a nice average in. Let's go, man. Hopefully this futures could take off and then we'll be a happy camper right now as PLTR looking to go back to the upside. We take some off at 69. Our average price is 66. So if this wants to rock and roll, I'm down with it. Facebook only now up 30 cents. Good out there in the 80s. Let's take another, let's hold on to this. Let's just hold on to Facebook and see where we dance from here. So we could take out one more piece. Just nervous about the NASDAQ coming back in. Facebook, a nice runner, 45 cents in the money here on Facebook and a dime in the money on Softy. So hopefully we get some upside surprises here.
And speaking of upside surprise, missed by 1 cent on SoFi, but if the turn wants to be at 10.04, then I might have to start the trade a little bit higher than we wanted here. And if I chase it to like 8s or 7s, it's just adjusting the amount of shares that I want at 1 and 2 by the appropriate amount. But I don't want to completely miss this move. And the difference on the way down is the futures were rocket shipping or capitulating to the downside once we broke 43 on the ES and the NASDAQ following suit. It's a little bit different. When the futures start to bounce and you're in front of that 10 even, okay, then I don't want to miss out on any kind of a move to that 1030 level. The risk to reward's still there, but if the market wants to back the bounce off 10, suddenly you have more upside, which means you should give it a little bit more room. Someone just said Virgin Galactic's going to break to 9. I'm like, it broke 9 already. The question is, can it hold above 9? So it's making a secondary break. It's gotten about like, it got 6 cents before, or maybe 7 cents. This time it got 9 cents above here, and again, making a bit of a double top. Usually, when you test it the second time, let's allow it to fail before I actually add any shares to that short side of the trade. But it has to break 9.10 at least for a bit of a stop out. If it's back below 9 even, then I'm going to jump right back into some shares or add back into some shares below 9. But I only want to add on the way down here. We'll give it to 10 on that stop. Didn't get that SoFi long. Didn't get Teladoc long either. That's a bit of a kick in the you-know-what because that looks like it could be making a nice little bounce.
Boo. Yeah. Okay. Nice little trade there. Nice hold on AMC as pigs get slaughtered here. We're making a hell of a lot of money back right now, guys. Like this has been a great move back up for me on the futures, man. Look at Palantir. Now we're diming it out right now, just how you like them, dime pieces. There it is. One more here for us on Palantir as we go. I'm just trying to empty out the the clip right now on Palantir. I mean, I still think we have more upside, but let's just go, man. Let's go Palantir up to 1080. We'll see. It's bounced off of VWAP and the 50 period before. So this is why you're seeing me like a madman start to get some out with being able to hold on. So we still have more than half of this trade, but we want to make sure that we still have something in the clip as Palantir going back up to the upside on a nice little reload there. Facebook, I mean, Microsoft not working. I don't know why, but Facebook is. And Facebook right now, 70 cents in the money off that reload. The number one fun stock today. I think this one, I mean, we'll see what's going to be the TOD, the trade of the. Okay, there goes AMC as well, up to 1630. We just got a bid there. But my concern right now really is Palantir, as we're bouncing off one more time off of some of these levels, 1080. Let's not make the same mistake. I'm trying to hold stuff, guys, to get back on. But like when I see this, we could just keep getting out, take more shares, upsize our shares, and scalp them out. So unfortunately, that's what's been working. I know it's not super sexy, but let's go Palantir, man. If this market can take the 50 period, then that's when we want to hold Palantir for 1095. But right now, directionally, we're still making lows here. We're still heading to the downside. We do have a few new low bottoms, but you know, again, not taking this out, definitely a concern. We know Palantir is weak, so just be careful with some of these trades. Facebook, 70 cents in the money.
So Mike Jack, I did not look at KOD. Look, this is a name that they had, like, I think it was like a FDA update, or there was an update on their, I think, phase 2 trial, and it was just, this one was the ugly one? Either way, but when you have something that's down this far, I always find it's really difficult to structure a trade risk to reward. And when I sat down, I was like, well, okay, well, maybe off of 22 or 23 this morning, and it just never really happened. I guess you could have faded it off of 16. It's now at $9. You have to have, to me, you have to know where you're wrong. You got to have some levels to work off of. Otherwise, it can be tricky. The trend has been tremendous to the downside. And this is the risk of having any sort of pharma company that's like a single drug or maybe like a small pipeline. One piece of bad news. That's everything for them, and you get absolutely crushed. Someone put a question in. Can you use conditional orders to hide on the bid? I keep missing by a couple of cents, but can I have a conditional order that would just sit there non-displayed? I was like, that's not really how they work. Conditional orders are more for breaks, and you can use them if it breaks a certain price to get in, but that doesn't help you sitting on the bid. Like let's just say imaginary situation here that I was trying to go long in a break at 910 on Virgin Galactic. That's great to have a conditional order. If 910 prints above, I go long at 11s. I'm actually using that for a stop out in the other direction. But that doesn't help me if I'm trying to bid at 9 even and someone keeps jumping in front of me when I'm at 901. There's nothing you can do about that. So either you allow it to break a price and pay that price or higher, or you sit on the bid for the price you want. And if you sit on the bid for the price that you want, you run the risk of other orders jumping in front of you. There's simply no way around that. If you use icebergs, you're going to be hidden. That's even worse. If you put a displayed bid, people can always jump in front of that bid, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's displayed size. Someone can decide that they want to bid 1 cent better, and then you miss out on that trade. Conditional orders aren't really going to help you in that regard. Conditional orders are for breakouts. Conditional orders are for stops. They're not going to do much for you when it comes to just sitting passively.
Yeah, good. I'm sort of sorry. I'm just sitting here watching this Palantir and trying to figure out, where our reload spot's going to be and where my stop orders are and everything. And I think that's something that's important. Look over your stop orders because a lot has happened here. So, you might want to have a quick look just to make sure that you're stopping out at the right levels if you are. I'm going to see if Palantir wants to go back downside a little bit now. So I put another bid here at 62. This last one was 64. It did touch 61 there, so we'll bid 62. Remember where our out is still 60, so we are trying to empty out a little bit here as we go back up to the upside, but so far so good, man. We did have to get out of some Microsoft when it went back into the 30s. We're going to go 1 for 1 here on Softy. Cannot be a loser now, so we'll hold the last 10, 20, 40, 60, 80, the last 20% now of Mr. Softy being held. Let's see if we get some upside here on Microsoft. But without any further ado, with only 20 minutes left in our show, as I see Ms. V take off, it's Brendan over there at the big screen.
Hey guys, overall S&P 500, I mean, it's kind of back and forth. We're almost back to flat. 0.15 to the downside right now. A few individual moves standing out. CDNS to start in the tech sector here. That was an earnings name, so better than expected, 0.9 or 9%, I should say, to the upside. Same with SNPS. Everything else pretty flat to slightly lower in the tech group. Down here, Moderna. These two actually teaming up on a collab. TMO, Thermo Fisher and Moderna, so 5% to the downside. TMO about 1.8 to the upside, higher. Energy stocks bouncing back nicely today. The entire group, in fact, in positive territory after the same story the other direction yesterday, despite big move in crude. So we're bouncing back for all the energy stocks. There's a couple of earnings names over in the real estate group, communications stocks as well, CHTR and Comcast. standing out to the downside so far, about 2% each. TJX reported this morning 7%, same with ROST. The consumer discretionary group, the leader to the downside so far. Lowe's trying to buck the trend, 2.3. Best Buy above that, the same or more to the downside, kind of offsetting that. So overall, consumer discretionaries are red. Same with industrial stocks today. All the travel names here in negative territory. I'm speaking more of the airlines, TXT and Deere. Standing at 1.6 either direction, kind of canceling each other out. But so it's consumer discretionary industrial stocks to the downside. Energy shares here trying to buck the trend, offsetting to the upside, guys. So overall, 1/4% for the S&P to the downside. Back over to you.
We'll hit this one for IMPP. I said if it breaks back out and gets a little more exciting than inside of that $1 to $1.15 range, we go back to it. It broke out on volume, just took some out at 120, 122. This is a case of I like that 115 short, but when something holds that dollar and you have a breakout from a former penny stock, and it shows you that they want to defend that dollar. It happened in the pre-market. It then happened on the opening short, which was good. And then you see it defend it again. And that's where we sort of jumped in front on that pullback. You get stopped out of that short the last time, and then it pulls back in. So, there's no obvious levels here. That's why 1/4, it breaks 1/4, I'll take some out on the way to 150. This is now kind of squeezing to the upside because it's a low floater. And at some point, it's just take the profit and look for a short because that's why I play it. I will not still be long this thing if it gets to 150. At that point, I'll be looking for where I can possibly short this thing. So let's see what happens. Right now, it's going to the upside, and we're taking it. And we finally got SoFi. Now it's right at that dollar range. So I got 103s like we said we'd have long. I'm actually on the bid that we go at 101 to get some more shares there. But if it breaks 10, this is an easy out, right? Like I'm not holding it through. If it wants to do a failed break, breaks 10, then holds 95, let's say, I can always jump back into the trade. But the initial trade is a pure and simple scalp off the 10 level on SoFi. So even though I did take some shares at that 10 area, I said if I stretched out and bid in front of that, we wanted to make sure that we still got the price we wanted on the way down. If 10 breaks, I wanted a 2 or 3 long. My average price ends up being 2 anyways, but 10 about to go.
Okay, so yeah, we did get stopped out there on PLTR as it does break. We did take a new position though. Microsoft's out as that broke the level as well. But here we go. We'll take Facebook long off 201.50. Facebook's been actually okay to the long side. You see we're just turning red now. So let's see if we can take advantage of this long here now on Facebook and then just take it out if we can. Just shy. Did that just go to 202.16 there? We're at 202.20. On FB, so maybe we'll switch that order a little bit to the upside. I don't know, like it seems like you get like these marketable orders that just come in there and take it up to like who knows where. Let's see if it takes out 202 now. We are at 2. There we go. We're at 06. We just got filled. We talked about that, so that's a good one for me there, getting filled on that level. So we will take it now on Facebook. A nice little out there quickly, but hey, here it comes right back down. The futures cannot hold. The futures cannot hold bids, guys. Right now. So there it goes down. AMC, we tried it one more time. The reload right there at 1607. It takes down 16 now to the downside here. So yeah, man, the market right now failing. We're making new lows here. Yikes in this market. To have held some of these shorts would to have been making cash. So nicely done here for anybody that was into any of these shorts. Facebook could come out, man. 201.50 break. We're out of Facebook. This is the one that we're going to try to hold. Next out, 202.50. If it can go upside, we'll see if we can take 70 cents. You can't take this kind of risk and then, get out so super quick every single time. So let's see if that makes some money here on Facebook. Right now, 201.81, the long that we have on board here.
Yeah, so I mean, look, IMPP is a small cap, so it's squeezing. It doesn't matter if the market's coming down. SoFi does, and it's been trying to bounce off at 10. I feel that the market wasn't screaming. It actually, it's gone up and down a couple of times at 1, and if the market wasn't so weak, it might have made that scalp trade already. But it seems almost inevitable that 10 is going to break here. My stop is in place. I'm not letting that level get breached. Virgin Galactic, we said if it held that 9, 10 area, and someone asked me, it's like, yeah, Virgin Galactic's going over $9, and it's like, well, it went over $9 before. The question is, can it hold? And it did not. It reversed at 10. I then got back into the set of wait for it to turn. When it did, we jumped back into some more shares. We'll get some out in front of VWAP, which I should already be doing here, and then maybe work some out. And we want to hold on to this because I sort of feel like if Virgin Galactic on whatever, man, they lost less money than expected, but it really just doesn't matter at this particular point. If the market's going to scream to the downside and break lows, it's not going to hold over a 10% gain. That's my idea here in Virgin Galactic. I thought either it rolled over right away or it overextended itself and then it could be a hold for the rest of the day. So we're on to the second part of that trade after losing on the first. I got some in front of VWAP because we can scalp if it's going to make a bit of a range here. But for now, Virgin Galactic rolling back in, still up 14%, so the bulls are winning. And the long on SoFi, oops, I just typed space again. The long on SoFi, this is now the third time it's gone back and forth at 01s. At this point, usually when it bounces off an even level, it should give you that trade. I'm going to take out over half of it on the way to 10. This is a simple long twos risking the 10. So if you're risking 3 cents plus slippage or maybe sometimes even less than 3 cents there, you want to be taking profit of 5 to 10 cents on the bulk of the trade. If it goes to 10, 20, or 10.30, fine. I'll have some on board, but the bulk we're getting out in the initial pump up. That's the idea behind this trade. It's a very day trader specific type of move.
Like we're not even like I'm looking at like 50 cents in the face here, not even taking it on Facebook. I mean, I don't. This is the one name that I feel like we want to hold on to. It's very aggressive and continues to work. What is that screen? Hey guys, what's up?
That's intense.
That's an intense screen right there. Hopefully we'll be able to get that off at some point. It's not mine. Maybe Mark. I don't know what's going on over there. Tim, Lucas, what's up with that? So we'll get that off. Display images. It looks like that's Brendan's screen. I have no idea what's going on.
Maybe if you come to my shot, it won't be there. That's a theory. Oh no, it's gone. There you go. I had to be Timmy way to get it fixed there. So I talked about AMD and sort of we had the one in and the out and we played off of our level and it didn't work. Be patient, allow it to come back to a price that you like before you jump into the long. Now it's close. We looked at yesterday's afternoon bottom. That's about 114 wick bottom into 113.50, and that's what I would like to defend. It's getting close to that level. We're not there yet, but it's about being patient. I'm not going to chase these trades. Either we get what we want or we're going to run away from it. I said we would try to ring the register on the roller coaster ride that is a space in front of VWAP. We did. I'll reload this trade, now establishing a 910 top there because it can't seem to hold a bid above $9. That's the key thing. No one seems to want to buy this thing above $9. It's probably just shorts getting stopped out at those prices, and at some point, it's got to give up the ghost. IMPP, which was a good reversal. Whoops. That's still on the NASDAQ. I don't know why I typed AM there. It was a good reversal. I then got to $1.29 in front of 130. I suppose that was too obvious because it made a hard right turn. It's still above the breakout price of 115, which means it could have a secondary move. And guess what? Maybe SoFi does want to give you that $10 trade. So I just got some out at 5. I'm on the offer all the way up to 110. So if it does make the move, I just got 20% out. I'll continue to get some shares out on the way to 10. Hold on to about a third of it to see if it extends that play. But if the futures don't go, 10's not going to hold on SoFi, right? Like if we consolidate here on the ES and the NASDAQ, and then from that point on, and here's what we're looking at. If we consolidate here and then can't hold on to these levels, SoFi is going to break that 10 even. So you got to make sure you have your out. That's an obvious one for me. But the futures have to cooperate to get the full extent of this move.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what we're looking at right now with Facebook. We just took a little piece out again there as we went up to the 10s. One more. It's the same. Whoops! It's the same level over and over and over again there. 202.10 to take out again 80 cents. But you could see now, like the futures, just they don't want to do anything except for go down. It seems like it starts to try to get going, and then now we're going to break new lows. It looks like here on the futures coming up in a second. There it goes. Futures trying to break new lows again on this, and here we go, man. It looks like some downside moves happening. Facebook, our out is 201. Here comes. It's coming right now. 201.50 is our out here on Facebook. So we're very, very close to that. And hey, look, we took a shot at this, and it doesn't look like we're going to win. Just to see how many shares I have coming out. We can take some more on this one if we do need to. Facebook right back upside. So there it is again. 201.60 comes through and holds. So, man, like just... I really, really like this trade, man. It just needs to go for us. So Facebook, let's try to reload one more time down there at 201.70. But hey, our out, guys, is breaking through 50, and that almost happened.
Yeah, exactly. I like the discussion happening. Ron Williams, Sticky Hands, a couple of guys in there talking about where support might be. And we're all looking at the same charts here. And I just feel like I'm like with you. I think AMD might find better support a little bit lower. Just being patient with it. One name that I'm glad I didn't trade this one today because you guys all remember DraftKings. from yesterday's action. I tried several shorts. In the afternoon, it was good. Established a top, double top, and we're able to get a short that eventually worked. I didn't reverse into a long, which was a mistake, obviously, at the end of the day. But again, breaking out of 10% DraftKings. So I'm going to do the same thing we did yesterday. Allow it to settle down, establish a high sometime during lunchtime or the afternoon, and then try to cash it as the short side of the trade. Clearly missing out on 2 days worth of longs here in DraftKings. But we're not going to miss out on a discussion of what's going on in the land of currencies and, more importantly, crypto. Brendan's at the big screen for Money Talks.
Hey guys, yeah, a bit of a wait and see kind of story as far as currencies and cryptocurrencies, for that matter, are concerned so far today. Not a lot of big moves you can see on the board so far. The US dollar on the chart over there, on the daily chart that is, trying to hold this 96 right on the dot as support, but stuck in the middle of the range. Any kind of headlines that come out of the Russian-Ukraine situation moving these markets as well, but dead flat right now basically for the US dollar, slightly lower for the euro. The Canadian dollar bouncing back along with some metal prices again today. So our economy strongly tied to metal prices. So Canadian dollar up 0.4 so far today. Swiss franc down that same amount. You can see everything else positive here, including Ethereum and Bitcoin off the highs of the day, but still struggling, guys, to bounce. I mean, if you look at a daily chart of Ethereum or Bitcoin, not too impressive as far as the rebound is concerned. Back over to you.
Right.
True.
We took a little bit out there on Facebook, and again, every time it comes up to this 202 level, we're taking some out, and it's only like 25 cents, 30-cent wins. Some of these were 30 cents. The last one was 25. It's just getting very, very close to breaking. I mean, these futures don't want to go up, guys. Someone said, like, why do I keep going long? Well, they didn't say it. It was just like, why do I think the long is going to win? And we're just day trading, and I actually don't right now. I'm trying to pick out good spots to go long and to try to see if I can get, like, you know, some kind of a, there it is. I mean, there goes Facebook right now. Some kind of a push to the upside. So we'll still stay very positive on Facebook today. I mean, we were short early, wish we still were, as now that's starting to break up to the downside right now. So honestly, it's just like trying to find some opportunities to trade through today. Facebook just breaks that low. I guess we need to wait even lower on this name. 200 coming through now on FB, and we just need to wait for the trend to change. It's been straight downside. Like ever since, like we should not have even covered our initial short because it hasn't taken out the 50 period. But yeah, straight move to the downside in these futures, man. Like NEO's down to $21.
Wow.
This is a losing trade for us today, not by much, but again, $21 on NIO. So like, where do we stop? Nobody knows. Palantir's at 1050. Kind of glad we got out of that way. Is there size here? At least a little bit of size. So just like SoFi, you can dance with this if you want, but I don't know, man. We're probably going to take that out as well.
Yeah, and like speaking of SoFi, like that went to like 5, 6. That's it. Like it's not giving you 10, 15. And so to your point, like I've waited for that 63 on Teladoc. Now, admittedly, that was a much better trade at the open, where you get that opening flush and you're looking for the buyers to come in. And what was a relatively decent report there for Teladoc. They're not making money, but everything else about their growth was actually pretty solid. But it's a different story here. Now we're catching the falling sword. This is not an average in situation. This is not one of those get stubborn and give it too much room. I just like the fact that we reestablished that 63. Sure, we should have had it at the open. I'll revisit the trade, jump into it here, but I'm not going to get stubborn with it. If we break that 63, maybe give it like, because of the spread, you're giving this probably an extra 15 or 20 cents, like I said earlier, but not much more than that. It's about 50 points plus that slippage. So 1-to-1's more along the lines of 75 cents in the money or $1 than it would be about 50 points. But it doesn't look like it's going to work. It looks like Virgin Galactic, the one short that I still have on, might be the one to roll over. Now, maybe I get that shot at DraftKings at some point over lunchtime, but I want to be very particular. Like, I don't see, if the market wants to continue to go downside, I know we're trying to make a bit of a bounce right here, and I hope we do for Teladoc and SoFi's sake, but if the market actually continues to go downside, DraftKings is going to stop squeezing. It's 11% short interest at some point. If it gets back to where it was, just at the beginning of the week, so at the end of the week there when we rolled over at 21.5, 22, then that's almost shortable regardless of what the market is doing. But DraftKings, relative strength is real, up 10% today and still running. Less than 5 minutes to go, and we're going to send you to Trader Pratt and his feed. By the way, I forgot to mention this, but if you come back at 2 o'clock in the afternoon show, Brendan somehow, he never takes any time off, is going to be off. And that means you're going to get myself, Sean, and Arun for the afternoon show, filling in for
I was
Brent.
wondering why I saw Arun here today.
Arun is here, but I forgot to mention that at the outset of the show, so you're going to get Arun's perspective as well for the afternoon. So make sure you stick around all day long. We're here all day. Brenda, what's up, buddy?
A few earnings, guys, to discuss once again. As I said, 78% of the S&P already reported. 78% of those who have reported have beaten. But, I mean, I just said to Miss V, I think this is getting busier, not less names on the list again today, guys.
Nothing can bounce. Jeez. Yeah, I don't see any names on there that we might like, but
oh my goodness.
No, just kidding. There's tons of names on there. Clover Health. Oh, this is the shit show earnings board where all of these names are basically at their all-time lows.
Root?
Yeah, Root is on there. Clover's on there. Skills is on there. Moderna's on there. Alibaba's on there. Yeah, I think we got this one. This is the bad earnings board.
Herbalife's on there too.
Hertz is on there, already been delisted. So yeah,
Nikola
should be very, very exciting tomorrow. Thanks for the talk there, guys. Yeah, what is that list? Yeah, you guys are right there. I cannot believe, guys.
There's gotta be something quality on there.
There isn't.
Fubo was on there. That's not quality.
Well, there's some Canadian banks that we saw on there, so there is that. Guys, Palantir, a nice little bounce off the bottom here as well. That's a good one. Someone just said DraftKings. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
It's going crazy. It just broke out again.
I would sell DraftKings if I were you guys. If you were long,
it's just squeezing, man. That's all it is.
Exactly. So if you're long off any of these bottoms of DraftKings, you may want to get out. I mean, I'm very, very happy with this, and you guys tell me what's going on with DraftKings. I mean, we spent some time down here near 16, 17, and now we're just Rip City. I mean, DraftKings is a crazy sell up in this area, but I mean, what a great move for DraftKings. Yesterday was up 7 or 8% as we looked to short. Yes, sir, there it comes. Come on, Palantir, man. You are, owe me here as we made back a lot of money now. A lot of money on this name. Yes, sir, let's go. Palantir back up to the upside there. We defend that 50 with a not the largest position, the same kind of positions that we had down here. So a nice little move back up to the upside, putting us well in the money here with this Palantir trade. Ms. V, do I like Airbnb? I'll check that out, Goldman. I actually really do like Airbnb. Yeah. I wish that I would have got in on this one at 150 or whatever it was. I'm nervous to see what it's trading at right now. And of course, it's not a New York stock. Oh, okay, it's still here at 150. So this is not bad. I thought we went up to 180 though the last couple of days on. Yeah, we did. Okay, so we did make a move up for Airbnb. Did we miss an earnings report or something? Like, why did Airbnb rip to 195? I think that was on earnings, and then right back to 150. Hell yeah, Goldman. Good look, good eye for you on that one. It's Miss V time. What's up?
Hey guys, it's a busy morning so far, and I hope you found some profitable opportunities for yourself. Please make sure you like this video, guys. We need just 400 more likes to get to 2,000, and we really hope for your help and support. Join Blonde, Prad, and me right after to continue trading this day, and happy National Banana Bread, everyone.
Yes. You know what's low-key really good? If you're into like peanut butter and banana sandwiches, which I am, then get a good fresh banana bread. It's got to be, just fresh right out of the oven. It's so warm. Get that peanut butter on it, and it's absolutely delicious. So I'm all over it. And by the way, that's Platinum Prad, baby. So we got 30 seconds. Building. We'll be sending you to Platinum Prad. You know what? There wasn't that much quality in that earnings list, but we managed to miss a clunker.
What was that?
Lemonade also reports. And remember, I said to you guys, wait for anything that's not making money. If you're even thinking about where you'll want to get into it, if you think it's a viable company, wait until minimum one round of earnings this year, at least two, and then settle down. So Lemonade, it's here. They're not going to report anything good, but we'll be checking in for their loss ratio, which I still expect to be pretty garbage. But maybe they make an improvement. If they have a surprise improvement there, then it could be time to dig into something like that. But it's crazy you said that, all the garbage names, and then yet there's another one that's under pressure, and it feels like it's going to be a rather a rebound or a capitulation day for some of those. Yep. It's 11 o'clock. Time to send you on over to Platinum Prad and Miss V. Go get them.
Let's do it.
Idea. Welcome. It is time for Market Movers, baby. How's everyone doing? Listen, I know everyone's excited. Everyone wants to see it. But we can't let you have all the wins, all right? I gotta catch some dubs somewhere, and I gotta do it my way or the highway, right? So this is what we're gonna do, guys. We're gonna do another challenge. We got one challenge for 3,000 likes.